It should be playing. Oh my God. I screwed it up.
Yeah, that's why I say you gotta.
We're working on. Okay, we're live, boys and girls, with the weather report for February 28th. Are they going to pull that shit where they have like an extra day in February?
No, it's an odd numbered year, and the math doesn't add up to a leap year.
Oh, good, because I hate when they do that. I just aggravates
No, I mean it's because 21, yeah. But then we don't have leap year either on if the every 4-year thing falls on a year ending in 0.
Oh, is that the way it's been working for how long?
I mean, there's a whole formula.
Doesn't that change?
It's either when it ends on a 0, maybe at the beginning of a century or something like that. I don't know if it's every. I forget.
I think I knew that stuff when I was a kid. Polyalanine, walking fish. Are you coming in, walking fish? I think I sent you an invite, walking fish, or did I not? I don't know. Or polyalanine. So that was interesting. Why polyalanine had that effect on the insect life. But anyway, okay, so we're going to talk a little bit first about embryology from this book, Developmental Biology. And
Jerry's asking about who did the intro for you, so you might want to attribute it.
Oh, Brainbug did that intro for me, Brian. And I should put that. I don't know where I should put that. That should have been at the beginning of the intro. Intro by Brainbug. He should have done that.
Well, you can put it in the video description of all your videos. Thanks to Brainbug for the intro or something.
Yep.
Link to his channel.
Yeah.
And I want to ask one thing about the video. Where the fuck's the raccoon at?
Oh, we need a raccoon. Oh, he hadn't yet drawn the raccoon when Brainbug made that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he took a screenshot off it. So we're waiting for Nathan to get done with his move so he can come back to us. He's spending the week. I think he's moving this week. And he will finish that drawing for me. So it's colored in, and I have my raccoon in the back. And do you think the raccoon should have fangs too?
I don't know. Why do you have fangs?
You mean they don't have fangs?
That was right smack in the middle of me dealing with Danny, and I was sort of fang-like. I had a fang-like feeling going on in my belly, sort of like.
Did you hear what Scott asked you though?
What?
He says don't raccoons have fangs?
Yeah, but I guess they have canines, but they need to be more prominent and curvy like a vampire. I don't think they're curvy. I don't know. I gotta look at their teeth tonight and see what I see. Pretty sure they do have pretty pronounced canines, but not as bad as some things like vampires.
Have you ever had any of those raccoons in your house?
They try to get in the door every now and then, but I have had possums come in through the cat door 3 times now where I have to catch a possum. Those things are so cool. You go in the library and they look at it, and they hide behind the books and they look at you like, leave me alone, leave me alone. And I got to catch them in an insect net and let them go outside. Pretty amazing.
Well, yeah, because they got some pretty vicious teeth, man.
They're not very aggressive, but I had a baby pop in the first time, and I was trying to sleep in the middle of the night, right? And I heard this, chewing noise, and it's like, what the fuck are the cats doing? So I went out, and the cats were sleeping, And I thought, okay, or no, I had 3 cats, and one of them, I thought she was licking herself. This old cat we had, right? And so I kept yelling at her. She had this place where she lay. I kept yelling at her, and as soon as I yelled, she would, the noise would stop. 15 minutes later, you wake me up again. There's this, and I yell at Yui again. And finally, I threw a pillow at Yui, this old cat. Threw a pillow at her, and she goes round and runs off, And then I heard the fucking chewing again, and Yui's not up there. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I went out, and I looked about 3 times, and I saw nothing. I looked everywhere, and then one time I went out, like 15 minutes later, and I saw the end of a gray cat sticking out of this big tube I had. And I thought, okay, I don't have any gray cats. What the fuck? My cats are all black, on their butts, And then it just disappeared so quickly that I couldn't find it. So I had to hunt for this thing. It went under my recliner, and it was hanging upside down from the springs. That's where I finally found it. Anyway, before I saw the possum, I called my son and I said, "There's a chupacabra down here." It's like 3 a.m. and I'm calling my son, telling him there's a chupacabra in the room, right? And he's like, "Okay, the old man's really lost it this time." It's like, but we finally found the goddamn thing and got it out. That was amazing. But I saw that, like, they are pretty quick. So,
Who did we lose?
I don't know who we lost.
So I was walking home from my buddy's house one night, like 30 years ago, maybe. Shit, no, 2010. Yeah, about 30 years ago. And so I cut through the yards because my place was the next block over at an angle. And I'm going through this one yard. And all of a sudden, there's this, what I think is a rat scurrying across the top of a chain link fence, which was right next to me. It freaked me the fuck out. And there was a length of pipe laying there. And I picked it up and I bashed right down on it, into the top of the chain link fence. And it kicked immediately and fell down. I went back to my buddy's house and I'm like, dude, I just killed the biggest fucking rat in the world. And then he comes over and takes a look at it and he's laughing at me. That ain't a fucking rat, you dumbass. That's a possum.
Yeah, that's a big rat. Yep. That's like my girlfriend with the Manx cat she thought she was raising, and it turned out to be like a 35-pound bobcat that she was feeding. Could have ripped her goddamn face off at any moment.
Yeah, no doubt.
So anyway, so development. So there's like 4 different things that can happen that they go through, and they're all heteros. So heterotopy is spatial alteration of gene expression is called heterotopy. So it happens at a different place. And let's see, what do we have here? And that usually happens, that could happen in a number of different ways, I guess. But I think, what was your original question, Andrew? Like whether development was protein change or regulation, right?
Well, I guess my original, I guess kind of like that. My original question would be, like here we have the transcription factors. Are we? I guess, is morphological evolution just dependent on either the changes in or the, because like you can have transcription factors, but you can also have proteins that actually build the bone and stuff, right? Yeah. I mean, that's how I understand it. Right. So like, I'm trying to figure out, like, is it mostly just either the expression or the coding changes that are going on in the developmental genes that like code for transcription factors, I guess, is my original question.
And I think you would end up with, and I'm just guessing, 70 or 80% would be transcriptional factors, and another 20% would be actual protein changes. Like for bones, there's got to be some protein system that basically causes secretion of minerals, to the outside of the cell, and then it hardens, and then it tends to kill the cell. So then it has just bone around this little center. There's that. So that would be an actual protein change that we ended up with, that because bone starts out as like hyaline cartilage, and then it starts to divide into these big long columns, and then these columns get really fat, and then they start secreting calcium and minerals around them, and then they harden and ossify, and that's how your bones grow. And so that would definitely be an additional protein or something that evolved to do that calcium secretion.
Right.
And I have a whole bunch of books on it. We could try to track down what it is. It would be an interesting story. So
I saw something earlier, like going over the 4 types of developmental changes. Can you, I guess, highlight that?
yeah, so the first one is heterotopy, so spatial alteration. So as the embryo develops, the gene expresses in a different spot, right?
Okay.
Let's see, what would be an example of that? So, a limb would develop at a different location on the thorax or whatever. That would be heterotopy. So,
Okay.
and then how the bat got its wings and the turtle got its shell. A little story on that and what is happening here. Okay, then the next one, heterochrony. Okay, that's timing.
Right.
So that's so that would be as a cell is migrating, it basically expresses something at a different time. So now we would also have a shape change based on that, or things like human brains developing. They develop slower than other primates, so you can get through the birth canal, and they develop into your youth. So they change the timing of it. So heterochrony would be different time.
Cue the saxophones.
Oh no, I can't right now. I could. Here.
Yeah, don't worry, I'll do it.
What evolved first, the gene regulatory network or transcription? Oh my goodness. The chicken or the egg? Which came first, the chicken or the egg, Andrew?
Actually, neither one of them did. The rooster came first.
The rooster came. Yeah. Okay. So that's heterochrony.
Something tells me it's either neither or that it was some kind of precursor. I don't think that's a settled question, Otangelo.
Things develop together.
Dinosaurs laid eggs, so.
Okay, and heterometry would be a change in the amount of a gene product. So you would end up with more protein, less protein, more of a regulatory factor.
Car insurance with Liberty Mutual.
Oh my goodness. You got to get rid of those ads, John. We got to get you a YouTube subscription. Okay, allometry. I wish I could find these web topics. I bought the book. I have to keep tracking it down.
Welcome, Otangelo.
Welcome.
Oh,
Hey, real quick, since I already derailed you there for a second, Harry P. Ness, I always want to pause there quite specifically. He was asking a few minutes ago which church denomination I attend and which one you attend. It was his last comment before the one you're highlighting now. I don't know if maybe he mistyped and it was a while back. I don't know whether he mistyped and was asking which we used to attend or.
Not familiar with that denomination.
Yeah, the one before that, he was asking us which church denomination does John Peterson attend, and you also, Speed. You'd think he's never been here before.
I attend the Church of Bacon, and I always have.
I go to the Our Lady of Suffering Succotash Church.
Fuffer and succotash.
Woolly ignorant. Okay. So, where were we? So now, so heterometry is the amount of gene, and then the fourth one I think is. Are we at 3 or 4? I lost count.
Yeah, I don't really want to look at Harry P. Ness's name for the whole show.
And this is finches. They talk about the finches. So heterotopy is the last one, and that's the one where basically you have an actual change in the gene. And one of the examples is what I had on. What do we got here? Let's see if I can make that smaller. So this is an example of the difference between insects and arthropods, where this polyalanine thing change. What did it do? It represses another gene. So this actually does something. So having this poly A in here.
Speed, I think John's getting a bit aggravated there.
Take the comment down.
Where's John? What's happening? Oh, take the comment down. Where's the comment down? I'll put another comment up. Okay. I don't fucking get those subtle cues that you guys throw out all the time, and you must realize that by now.
I mean, well, the first time though it wasn't such a subtle cue. I said literally to you, Speed, I don't want to look at Harry P. Ness's name the whole screen. Could you take?
How did this happen? I can't not do it. Oh, Harry P. Ness. Okay, so why insects have 6 legs? Insects have only 6 legs, while most other arthropod groups have many more.
Can you zoom in a little bit? I can't read it as well.
Oh, so you want to read his? Well, I was trying to make the illustration like a full screen. Okay. How about now? Okay.
Okay, there.
So anyway.
I mean, you could also make it much easier to read, Speed, if you just put the document on the screen, hit the thing below the screen all the way to the right. There's one that's got just one block, one screen. Like without us on the side, it would just be the document. Yeah, there we go.
But it doesn't make it any bigger. That's the problem with this.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't help a bit, John.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, the only thing you can't see the people on the left, so I usually don't use that one. I gave up. Okay.
Gain of function mutation.
Yeah.
That's
so. Yeah, this was an actual mutation. Yeah, that gained function because the answer seems to be found in the relationship between halter bithorax, UBX, and distalis gene. In most of the arthropod groups, UBX does not inhibit distalis. However, in insects with that poly-A, polyalanine, mutation occurred in UBX gene, whereas the original 3' end was replaced by a group of nucleotides encoding a stretch of 10 alanine residues. And that caused it to suppress the distalis, which would cause the legs. And so that is a gain of function. They would still say it was a loss, right?
I would think for this topic that brain bug should be in here.
Yeah, he might have something to say about this.
I mean, he just said, great topic, grabbing the popcorn, passes popcorn to Scott, bug time, he says.
Oh, shit. I'm going to disappoint him because there ain't much more bug time. That's all.
No.
Well, maybe we can get him in here and he can help extend the bug time.
Well, and I have a question that maybe, okay, so you said that unlike other, tell me if I'm saying it right, arthropods?
Yes.
Okay. That bugs have 6 legs while the others have more, many more. And so name some of those non-insect arthropods to the idiot in the room. Like what? Like what?
Like centipedes and millipede. Like you can see, like basically imagine a tube, and on each segment of the tube, you have legs, so there's no repression of legness on any of the segments. Whereas in insects, like flies and beetles and stuff like that, you do have repression of legness on the abdomen, which is the hindquarters.
Well, but centipedes are insects, aren't they?
Yeah.
Nope, they are not insects.
No, they're arthropods. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I think of them as insects.
That's actually one thing that separates insects from other arthropods is they only have 6 legs. Other arthropods have more legs than that.
Is it like calling mammals reptiles?
Say that again?
Is it like calling mammals reptiles in the like arthropods are not insects?
Yeah, it's a little confusing. Like you guys said, maybe brain bug can come in here because I'm having trouble crystallizing my thoughts right now.
I always had trouble crystallizing those things.
Yeah, and centipedes are not insects.
Yeah. Okay.
They're insect-like, but they're not insects. But good question.
Remember we were talking about the neural crest?
Oh yeah, for
Basically,
turtle.
when that little a little tube forms that becomes your spine and your brain, most of your nervous system, but right on the top of that is this little neural crest. And I've got God, I hope I can find the right pictures. But what happens is these cells are like in a layer, so they're like an epidermis or epidermal or a dermal layer or whatever. They're all together.
Yeah.
So they start to dissolve the sticky stuff at the surface of the cells, and they spread out, and that's called that is called a what the fuck is it? Epidermal to mesenchymal transformation, or an EMT, and they start to float out, and they become like your organs and your head and your face and your jaws and all of that stuff, and that's kind of how you have a head. So they have how the chordates got a head. The neural crest is responsible for forming the heads of chordates. But how did the neural crest come into existence? It is probable that the ancestral deuterostomes had all the requisite genes, but only in chordates did these genes become linked together into a network that became neural crest cells. So something caused them to start splitting out and floating around in the embryo until they found these positions. And then, of course, each one differentiated into a different part. There's an Otangelo looking thing in the back room. I don't know what I should do about it.
Being as that he has shared quite a bit of nonsense in the live chat already, I mean, I think you should leave him backstage.
He's backstage.
Yeah, no, I mean, if he wants to come in, then that'll probably take care of the rest of the show anyway.
Yeah, no,
until he rage quits.
Yeah, we're not going to do this too long. So I just had a few things, and I don't have anything really cogent lined up other than looking through some things on this book.
Okay, I have.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Just real quick, I have a challenge to Otangelo if we're gonna let him in here. That if he's gonna converse with us, he's gotta stay on this topic of EvoDevo. Basically, I want to hear his thoughts on that specifically. So, if we can do that, Speed, I know it'll be hard to do.
It might be hard to do. What do you think? Well, Otangelo, we do not want to take over the whole goddamn show, okay?
Well, okay, could you probably 10 comments up, and he responds to Jay Pasick.
Maybe Jay Panic.
He put Jay Panic. He says, true, the origin of life is an even bigger problem, because Jay had pointed out to him that, the origin of life, really, whatever caused that, its evolution's the same. There had to be some start of life for evolution to occur, something like that. I can't remember. But I don't understand. He says, yeah, the origin of life is an even bigger problem. Well, yeah, Otangelo, it's still a problem because we haven't nailed down exactly what it was yet. But for you, it doesn't seem to be a problem because you recognize that we don't understand it yet, and then you just take that to mean must have been my God. So I just don't get that. But
yep. So this would be what?
And he said, "Oh, by the way, I'm sorry." He said no problem in response to that. He will come in and he'll stick to the topic.
All right.
So they have these kinds of graphs all over the place. Where basically, I think this heterotopy where there are different genes are upregulated and downregulated for different tissue types.
Ooh.
And somebody has a really bad buzz, and I got a feeling it's Otangelo. It is. Otangelo, can you do something about that buzz? I muted you for a minute. Anyway.
You see Harry's comment? It's the last comment to post.
In a few minutes, President Trump. Oh my God, is that happening?
He's speaking at CPAC, but read the rest of his comment.
First major space since they stole the White House. You guys didn't want to miss it. Yeah, right. We don't want to miss that. I can't believe they're letting that. But they can't keep him out. He's like He's like a cockroach, and there's just no getting rid of this cockroach in the Republican Party. They're stuck with this guy. They must be hoping, just hoping, that his health goes, because that would solve their problem, and then they wouldn't lose the MAGA vote, if something happened to Trump.
Right. They could use him as a martyr for decades.
Yeah. At one point, I had this sort of a dream picture of all the Republicans out there and all sorts of these red laser lights following Trump around. All the Republicans sitting outside Mar-a-Lago, trying to put a hit on him so I can get rid of him, get him out of the party, because he is a problem for the party.
Hey, Peter, what's up?
Kind of want him to go away. Why is it?
Peter's in the house now.
Hi, Peter. Why is it J Panic? Why J Panic?
Oh, he named himself that. All right. I thought Otangelo was just misspelling it.
No, I'm not sure why he did that. I'm not sure if it's a really J.
Well, no, I bet you it is Jay, and I'll bet you something happened recently to where he is trolling back at a troll or referring to something that happened in one of his streams or something. I'm sure of it.
After
get a wrench.
Two really, really scary things happened last night. Number one, Spooky Bedhair showed up again. And the second one was Darth Dawkins was actually in the back studio for about 2 minutes.
On this channel?
On this channel, on Saturday Night at the Atheist.
And what did he leave for? You didn't let him in, or?
I bounced him. I explained to him that I don't want your kind of bullshit, stinky crap on my channel. Just hearing his voice would make me take the entire stream down.
Yeah. I mean,
he's a first-class piece of shit.
I mean, I don't know if you were there when he came on Rage's channel, and it only took me 90 seconds or 2 or 3 minutes, and he was gone. Or I guess it may have been up to 5 minutes.
Yep.
Because I just played his shtick on him, and he wasn't having any of it.
So it would be nice to go through some of this and actually read it so that I understand it in advance. Again, a lot of this is actually, like I say, it took me a year to read this book, and I've forgotten about 3/4 of it. Yeah, it's pretty horrible because it's extremely dense. I mean, when they write it out in rhetorically, what happens with all these different gene regulatory networks and how one fires another, it is pretty amazing. Amazingly hard to follow. You have to draw it out, and you have to read it over and over again until you get it. This is a development of the zebrafish. The zebrafish, Drosophila, what is it? The little worm, elegans.
Nematode?
Yeah. What is C. elegans? Yeah, Cenorhabditis elegans. That worm is one of the human embryo, the mouse. These are all, what are they called? They're basically favorites of embryologists, so we know more about
model organisms.
Model organisms, yeah. So we know more about how they developed than anything else. Zebrafish is one of them. And then recently, they've started looking wider like paddlefish, and they found all kinds of surprises about the fin to limbs question. Where they found a whole lot of interesting things in paddlefish that we didn't know about. So we need to look at embryology needs to spread its wings and start looking at other organisms. And let's see, for insects, I don't think, other than Drosophila, we don't have a favorite for insects, model organism that we study. I would love to see some work on beetles.
I think there is some work on beetles, but I don't think it's as popular as with Drosophila.
Yeah. Well, I think we had, let's see, what was it? Remember we had a little thing up on beetles the other day about how the outer shell, what is that called, that outer shell of the beetle? The elantra? Is that the outer shell of the beetle is a wing that ended up getting filled in, with...
oh, yeah.
But it got filled in with the same thing that makes the shell for the insect. Okay.
Yeah, the exoskeleton. So it's I think I heard that before. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so the exoskeleton protein started to express on the wing and ended up with this hard shell. And then from there, of course, it developed all sorts of different color patterns and things like that.
Can we?
Go ahead.
No, I apologize. It was because, of course, as you know, it's the only thing I can contribute when you guys are talking about this stuff. But I just have to take a 30-second derailment here. So Iron Chariot Tier said in the chat, the Christian God can't make his mind up, because they were talking about foreskins. So he's like, he was regretful. So that was a bug in the design. You guys are going to have to cut that little piece of flesh off.
Cut that off.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And then our good buddy Danny responded, and I lost it. Fucking scrolled up on me. Where the fuck did it go? He said something like, where the fuck did it go? Damn thing moved on me. Did he take his comment down? He had said, what a white belt thing to say, Iron Chariot here. Doing his best to impersonate a Christian once again.
Troll the atheist again.
331, he wrote it.
331?
Or
Well,
231 for you.
Oh. In real time?
But I have the time stamp on the public chat.
Why is that a white belt thing to say? I mean, that's
it's gone on my screen for some reason.
Oh, Danny might have blocked you or something. I don't know what the hell. You got a wrench, though. You should see them all. Yeah. But anyway, that is not a web. I think that's kind of interesting. Like God probably thinks, no, bats, no, they're not supposed to fly. I fucked up. They're actually supposed to be rats. But I forgot to put the part in that makes the webbing between the fingers die. And I left it out. So you guys are going to have to go out there and modify those bats. Because a flying rat, Jesus Christ, who would have ever done that? Right?
Yeah, I don't what. So, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm like, I can't get my mind off this. How was that white belt to share an apparent discombobulation with the idea of the Christian God?
Your average Christian troll would do that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, why would God make something and then instruct people to modify that thing that perfect being made?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was done. That was my musing.
Speed. I just want to ask, do you know what year the book you're showing is?
This is a Greasy. Hang on a second. Greasy, where are you? Okay, I got one from 2011, which is Principles of Development by Wolpert, and that's the one P.Z. Myers teaches from. And the other one, hang on a second. Some bitch. Lost my book. I think it's 2018.
Okay.
Pretty sure it's 2018.
Yeah, it looks pretty up to date.
It is up to date. Anything else is. Well, Jesus. How do I lose books like this? I have no idea. I had it. Should be here, but it's not. I think it's 2018. This one. It is up to date. And then P.Z. Myers uses Wolpert, which is a different one, Principles of Development, I think, by Cheryl Tickle and Wolpert. And the two together are, they're laid out a little bit differently, but I was trying to find a section of this book. Hang on a second here. Something happened in the chat.
Yeah, just something, an update on the fun. Iron Charioteer says, at Danny, think about it for a bit. The Christian God is an idiot. And Danny's response, Iron Charioteer, I don't really know what you mean. Oh, God.
Yep. God regretted making mankind.
So let me ask you, can you hear me?
Your audio is really shitty, Altangelo.
Yeah, we're not gonna be able to work with that. But anyway, here's a nice colored picture of limbs. No,
Is
where's
it
the tower?
better now?
What are you doing? What's different?
It sounds like you have two soup cans connected with a string, Altangelo.
Yeah. Anyway, it's really cool when they color the bones like this and show you the morphological differences.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then when you start reading the text, you can see how when these tissues start to differentiate, and particularly this EMT, or epidermal to mesenchymal transformation. Mesenchymal tissue are like cells that are floating around, kind of, and epidermal are in a nice basal layer. And there's a picture here about how that happens. I think I had it as the icon for one of my shows. But anyway, they start floating around and they go to these different positions, and they follow this trajectory. You know, there's like a path. There's
Is it better now? My phone is better now?
still worse, still really bad. It's called specification and determination, basically. Specification is where the cell gets enough signals that it starts to become a new tissue, but you could still turn it around. But then determination, a cell goes into a state where you cannot. They have been able to turn those things back in stem cells in the laboratory, but for the most part, once it's determined that it's going to be like a liver tissue, there's no way to change that. But it involves a pathway, and it's a very interesting little. You can draw it out like a diagram, you know, where it goes through this pathway of development, and then it gets locked into place and it becomes determined as a particular type of tissue. But those pathways also, in different areas of the organism, there's a different pathway, and that's how we end up with, you know, the humerus and the ulna and the radius, and it's also how, because of this heterochrony difference in timing, that some limbs end up longer and some shorter, and and all that. And
I mean, how do oh, you scrolled up too fast, dude. I was about to ask about. Okay, so like, you can, even as different as those are, you can see the similarities in all of them. But
yes.
Right, but then now I look at like the Batwing, and to me, like, I look at it, and I'm certainly, you know, no expert, but like, what's the, like, those, the structure of the Batwing, the bones, they look like they're so delicate that, like, what function do they serve?
Hold the wing up, but they got to be light, because the bat's got to be light to fly. So they ended up becoming really.
But they're still sturdy.
Oh yeah, they're still holding the wing up. They're structured.
Oh, okay.
And then up here for the human, the human fingers, you can see the area between the fingers. Basically, that is apoptosis. That's cell death, and that's programmed cell death. There's something that actually this starts out in the embryo as a joined web, right? There's skin across.
Well, some people are born that way too, because
because they lack that whatever that mechanism was that caused that webbing to die off between. So there's also programmed cell death is very much part of embryological development. So
you cannot have multicellular organisms without programmed apoptosis and cell death. So programming, you have to explain how that could have emerged by evolution.
We have to explain it.
Yeah.
That's what this book does. That's what this book does, Otangelo. But I can barely hear you.
Yeah, we can't. Otangelo, it literally sounds like you are talking through a cheerleader's bullhorn.
You can see it right here in the mouse and the bat. You know that the apoptosis or the cell death, how the webbing disappears, that sort of thing. And they actually, let's see if we have.
What the heck is that?
That's a dude. Thomas Kwasthoff, thalidomide. You remember that little problem? Okay, specifying identity, mechanisms of developmental patterning. But and I love this picture of the kids. Look at that. That's pretty awesome. What I was wondering is how the hell they get kids to sit still that long.
Well, you don't know. That could be a still shot from like 20 minutes worth of film.
Yeah. Specified to be a neuron. Okay, here's a specification, and it gets into determination, all of that. So I've been going through and highlighting this a little bit. But I had some, let's see, somewhere I had some really good pictures of this.
I was just gonna say.
Look
I,
at
I
that.
was just gonna say, like the common saying, "You are what you eat." For cells, it's you are what your proteins are.
Yeah. So this shows you these pathways. You know, so you have the root. I mean, this is almost like a phylogeny tree, but it's for tissue, and it's for tissue in a tunicate. And this guy, I forget what his name was, he worked it out in utter detail. Swalla, I think, 2004. He worked it out in utter detail about how the tissues differentiate. And so they follow these pathways, and then they split off, and so every cell has its own lineage. It's almost like ancestors. You know, they have ancestors, and that causes all the different tissue types for notochord and endoderm and all of that. Usually mesenchyme, which Nephilim free, bless his heart, always says measurable cells.
Hey, so just my world has changed in the last 10 minutes because, yeah, I got tired of following that live chat because Danny's on his normal nonsense, you know, with a joke, basically a joke that what's Iron Charioteer was making, and now Danny's trying to break it down. But so I turned the comments off on StreamYards here. I switched over to private chat. Now I'm being inundated by Otangelo with all his freaking postings of his cat board and everything. Like,
yeah, it's okay in private chat with Angelo. That's a good place.
no, I'm not. I'm just saying, you know, how do I there's no option to turn both of them off on.
If you want to learn stuff, Otangelo's Cats board thing is a really good place to start linking out to a whole bunch of different papers and ideas. It's just that I really wish you would put your comments in bright red, like with a warning sign.
Well, they are in green. Well, they
Are
very
they?
clear
Well, you put them in green?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
all the comments in green, they characterize that it is my comment. So you can
Okay, I really appreciate
the
that. Thank you.
evidence and my comment
you-
in green, okay?
Could you upload a version without your comments?
Nice one, John.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, John, you can full screen the StreamYard.
Well,
Then
so
it'll
let me,
disappear all the.
let me
chat.
answer
Oh
to that.
yeah, that's right. I
Let me
forgot.
answer to that.
Thank you, Tom.
If you really want to be honest to yourself, John, then I would try to be a little bit less biased.
All I
Try
hear
to-
is I feel like we're listening to an episode of The Peanuts of Charlie Brown.
I can't.
Yeah.
Really, really hard to hear you, Otangelo. I really think you need to go home and get on your microphone. Anyway, we dwelled on this long enough. The fact that there is an actual ancestry to tissue types as they develop into various things in your body as it floats around. And it's neat. We have an animal pole and we have a vegetable pole or vegetal pole. And the problem with creationists is the vegetal pole takes over the entire organism.
Yeah, I was gonna say something earlier. When you were showing the forelimbs, basically, like we can easily see how you take these different mechanisms and put them together in different not mechanisms, developmental pathways, and put them together in different ways, and you get these different organisms. Well, creationists are just gonna turn around and say, "Oh, look, it's evidence of common design."
Yeah, I know. Here's very early what is it, blastulation or whatever, where the cell types start to divide very early on, and that's kind of cool. But the thing is that reading embryology was the place where I become thoroughly convinced to the very bottom of my soul in evolution, because you can see how just minor changes can create in early minor changes in an early embryo can create massive changes in morphology in the adult organism. And you can see it. You can see why. You can see how fins became limbs when you understand this stuff. And it's not anything like a blueprint. I mean, like you look at the genes. There's no way to transfer from a gene as a blueprint to the construction of a forelimb, because that's not how it happens. It happens in this sort of dynamic unfolding mechanism. It isn't like you read the gene and say, oh, I'm going to put an arm here and I'm going to make and the gene says to make this bone 3.2 inches long. And, nothing like that. That isn't how it works. So once you understand how these tissues start out and they start differentiating, they all start out as the very same cell. And then they break up into 2 and then 4 and what. Go ahead.
I just wish Otangelo had still been here when you started speaking. Because
he's off getting his microphone fixed.
I guess you mentioned that you because of embryology and studying that you feel down into your soul, and I could just see Otangelo or another Christian going, "Oh, wait a minute! So you're
you said soul?
Whoa, you said soul?
Did I say soul?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. I frequently use the Christian talk to speak, particularly when I go to my weird 12-step groups. I always use the Christian words because it's a good way to communicate reality to a Christian if you talk in their language, right?
Yeah, it's embedded in the language. It's one of those things, well, you know what I mean, even though technically we don't mean the same thing.
Yeah. And then the other thing, I say, oh my God, all the time, because it's just an exclamation of surprise.
Yep.
Right. And the last thing would be that it kind of shows that this kind of science can be very spiritual as well, right?
Yeah.
Very, very, a lot of wonder and joy about it.
Enlightening.
Yeah, it gives you an interesting idea about what we are and how we come from this germline, and then we pop up out of that germline like mushrooms almost. And the germline goes on to our children and our grandchildren or whatever, and then every periodically this mushroom pops up, and that's us. So we're just the mushroom that spreads the sperm around is basically what we are. That spreads the spores around, and the germline goes on. So life is the germline, and it's all connected. So,
like I tell you, for some reason, something you were just saying, you or who is that other person here? Is that rational empiricist? Yeah, who said hi to me at the beginning. So I remember on this show at one time when we were talking about this, and somebody was saying, "Yeah, this kind of science, it is kind of spiritual too." I think rational empiricist said, and it reminded me we were kind of on a subject like this before. Leo was here, and I was speaking about something I wrote a long time ago about how it's the ideas in Christianity are not as romantic as the facts of it. That I came from stardust, and at one point I'm going to die, and the constituents that make up my body are going to decompose, and then when the sun goes supernova and swallows the earth, I'll return back to the stars. And Leo immediately said, well, actually, the type of star that we have in this solar system will not go supernova. It's like I'm trying to share some, poetic kind of idea.
Yep. It gets kibosh. I remember that. That was pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I would just say, if you're gonna say something wondrous like that, you got to do it right.
So, Otangelo, do you know how many mechanisms are involved in cell differentiation? Well,
not many.
There's fewer than you think. That if you learn about 10 of them, you know a hell of a lot. If you learn 30, you're a damn expert. And there's not that many. But then how would you answer that question? I mean, in every phyla, there's going to be a different answer to that question.
Yeah, I mean the mechanisms are the same. It's just the different ways they're carried out. Like you can have different neural crest cells developing in different ways, but they're still under development. Like the mechanism hasn't changed. It's just the way it's applied, basically.
Is Danny still going on about foreskin?
I don't know. I haven't looked at it in a while. I stopped following it after reading a few of Danny's patented. Let's change this conversation to what I want to talk about. Fucking comments.
Yeah. Anyway,
this might. No, I was going to ask a question, and it's going to sound like I'm making a fucking joke, but I'm asking this question seriously. All right. if there is a serious answer, you can tell me it's just nonsense. All right. So you guys are talking about how different cells, determine what different parts of the body are going to turn out to be.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
And what those parts of the body or those mechanisms are, what attributes they're going to have, or so is there one of those determinations made? And again, I'm asking this seriously, because when it comes to humans, all men have different sized penises. Like, why isn't it just a standard size that everybody has?
Probably just natural variation.
Yeah, there's there could be variation in the genes, a few small mutations, or it could be timing, or it could be that your mama drank a six-pack.
It probably could also be variation in testosterone, right?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, and that would be either genetically based or it would be based on the mother, that sort of thing. But
yeah, I mean, like, and what I mean too is like, okay, so like if you look at human beings, for the most part, like the same size human beings, their body parts, unless there's some kind of severe mutation, are in proportion to their bodies. Like a bigger man would have bigger hands, a smaller man would have smaller hands compared to what their body size was. But it seems like there's so many variations in that body part I brought up that it doesn't always hold true to match the size of one's body.
Yeah, the interesting thing is what the hell is it? Is the penis that's really that's in the brain. Penis is really close to the lips.
I think CRISPR also has an answer to your question, John, from the live chat.
All right, I'm gonna take a chance and open the live
Highly
chat.
variable in terms of size, much more so than bones, which are highly correlated with one another, right? As they should be. But there's something else is some guys who have two different guys who have the same size biceps can curl up to 10 or 15 pounds differently, right? Because of exactly where the attachment of the bicep is on the bone, it gives you a different leverage. And just like a half an inch can make a difference of like you can curl 15 pounds more. So you get this little guy who, can curl, 90 pounds, and then you got a guy with big beefed up muscles and he can't compete with him. So that's something interesting I learned when I was studying weight training about 30 years ago when I cared. Anyway, I still have weights, but
well, and the interesting thing, just as a little sidebar, you're the one that should be doing weight training. The older you get, the more you should be doing weight training.
Yeah, definitely.
And weight training, as opposed to cardio, doing strength training. If you do strength training, it of course it builds, it keeps you from losing that muscle mass that you start losing after like 45 years old. Yeah. But also, as opposed to cardio, you burn calories while you're doing the cardio. When you do weight training, you burn calories for hours after you do it.
All day. You basically tear your muscle tissues down and they rebuild. You actually, and that's why it hurts so bad. But weight training, cardio is it's a conspiracy developed by the conservatives to kill Californians. Cardio is bullshit. I mean, yeah, sure, it's good to have your heart, but if you really want to live a long time, you'll do good, solid weight training. And the problem with people that are in the construction industry, like bricklaying, they build up part of their muscles, but not all of them. So if you do a really good weight training regime and build up all of your muscles, when you fall down, you won't break anything. But you can work your ass off and do real heavy work if you're doing repetitive, the same thing over and over again, like warehouse work or something.
Right,
you will actually fuck your body up so bad. You'll have back aches and you'll have, tennis elbow and everything else. But
well, I mean, that's why blowjob queens have such big neck muscles.
I don't know how you got there from here.
Yeah, that's just the way my mind works.
We know you, John.
Does anyone know?
There have been complaints. I have a complaint department for John Peterson that my email goes into this one folder. I just ignore him, John. Yes.
Does
Anyway,
Oh.
go ahead.
Does anyone know if Otangel is live on his channel right now? Because I think a comment earlier said that he was gonna host a stream or something. If someone wanted to talk there, I don't know who.
He's going to do a refutation immediately. Okay, so his Cell's friend Emery Moyna did a little video, and he was talking about, I think it was Drosophila, where they did they made some mutation to Drosophila, and it showed up in the next generation, and he cited a paper from 1956. Well, this is a Drosophila egg developing, and the thing you got to understand is the mRNA, the stuff that gets translated into proteins in the very first few cell divisions, comes from the mama. So if there's a mutation in the mom's bicoid gene, okay, and they named it bicoid because if you don't have that gene, you'll end up with an organism that has two asses and no head, basically. But the bicoid gene and the caudal gene determine where the bud is and where the head is, and that comes from the mama. The caudal gene actually goes throughout the entire Drosophila zygote, and bicoid inhibits the effects of caudal. So bicoid is at the head, and caudal is all the way through, and then it sort of inhibits, and you can see.
I wonder if that's ever happened before.
With two butts?
Yes.
Most creationists. But it's hard to tell.
So let's play a little game. Guess the conversation before the comment. Jay Panic posts, "Had agnostic pagan mom, not a problem. My wife calls mine the Punisher."
Oh my God.
What the fuck, Jay?
All right.
So wait a minute. She calls it Von Helton.
You
She calls it Von Helton.
Jesus Christ. No. Way to kill the mood, John.
No, I mean, what mood? Wait a minute. Jay commented about his penis, and that puts you in a mood?
I walked into that one.
Did you see my DM yesterday?
If you mean me, no.
I sent you a DM after you left because you left so suddenly. I thought maybe I had offended you with my comment.
Oh, let me see. Twitter is a piece of crap.
No, it wasn't Twitter. I sent it on Discord.
Oh. Right, so I need to go on my other account.
So I almost pulled off getting the intro to run at the beginning of the show today, but I think we screwed up a few things, but we'll get better. But anyway, Peter, I'm working on branding. Peter's going to help me with branding. We're going to get cool on this channel, man. We're going to get so cool.
Fucking coffee. He just out of the blue post. The Punisher is better than Tremors.
Does your wife call yours Tremors? That's quite an admission.
I don't know, man. If your wife called your penis Tremors, that would be one hell of a comment because them fucking things are huge.
Well, I think it's had something to do with a heroic dose of mushrooms.
Yep.
Anyway, okay, Andrew. So
wait a minute, somebody fucking blocked Lena.
What?
Not here, but like I guess she was telling Jay.
On Fraser channel, yeah. They don't like Lena because she's too honest. They don't care for that. Anyway, so I've got two of these books, and I think it might be good if we found the time to go through them. Books, yeah. And I have the PDF versions of both of them, and they also have a whole bunch of resources. When you buy the book, you scratch off this little thing, so I have access to a whole bunch of coursework. And I think, Andrew, we should try to put together some kind of a series based on that if we can find the time to do it.
Ooh, okay.
If we block out a time and just go through developmental biology and stuff. And
yeah, you should like do that. Like fucking, I'll be the idiot in the room that you get to teach.
Yeah, and if you guys keep us honest and ask questions about it, we can go through and try to make it.
I mean, wait. I thought I was the idiot in the room.
Where's your dunce cap?
If you want to be.
I don't have one currently.
If someone like Dr. Dan comes in, we're all idiots in the room. unfortunately.
Yeah, that's like, and I'm not going to out anybody, but I had this funny conversation with somebody that was correcting me on a philosophical point, and then I referred to this person's expertise, and they balked at that. And well, I'm no expert, and I'm like, well, oh, okay, I'm sorry, I must be thinking of someone else. I thought you had gone to college for philosophy, and then their next response was, well, yeah, I majored in philosophy in college, but that doesn't make me an expert. And I'm like, well, it sure does compared to me. Like, what the fuck?
I think I know who you. Never mind. Moving on.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
Otangelo, have you corrected your mic problem? He said he was going to start a stream. I hope he doesn't do it from his phone because that phone does not work.
I really wanted to ask Otangelo some questions about some of the stuff we've been talking about so far.
I put a very private chat message in private chat for you, Andrew, which we shall not repeat live. So,
okay.
Anyway, because we're good, we're on the up and up here. Okay. Anyway, that's about enough of that. We can go on to. Hey, how's Danny? Oh yeah, I was gonna say. I've been getting a little pushback from Jerry Pena and a few other people about putting Danny in the back room instead of John. And here's how I explain that. When you have a 2-year-old in the room and the 2-year-old is just behaving very badly, saying, sorry, and over talking and calling the moderator names, calling the owner of the channel names, making ad hom attacks, put him in a back room, you take him out of the back room and he starts talking right away, even though somebody else is talking and yelling. That's a 2-year-old behaving badly. And when that happens, adults in the room start to behave like 6-year-olds, John. But who are you going to put in the corner? You're going to put the 2-year-old in the corner because that is where the problem comes from, right?
That's an insult to 2-year-olds and 6-year-olds, it's respectively.
Anyway,
like, Jesus.
Jesus Christ, thanks, Midnight.
I mean, if yeah.
Go ahead.
I want to reword that one.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Yeah. Whatever. Sorry. Go ahead.
But yeah. Okay. So John does behave badly, but I've gone into a rage with Danny too because the ad homs just get to be too fucking much. You can only take so. And damn it, guys, this is my channel. You don't call me names on my channel. I'm going to bounce you. I'm sorry. I'm going to treat you badly if you do that. Wouldn't you do the same if I came into your house and started calling you an idiot? Would you say
positive names?
Yeah. Anyway, and I realize that most of how Danny deals with me is a real true ad hominem arguments or fallacies. He said, "Oh, you don't understand," or "You're not an honest interlocutor." And what I'm trying to do is convince Danny that he and I come from very, very, very different philosophical nebulae. And we are, meeting in the middle and trying to communicate. And you can't keep pulling your same shit or you're going to end up in the back room. And
you said no name calling to the owner of the channel, but it's okay if we call you the Punisher though, right?
Oh yeah, you can call me the Punisher.
Okay, all right.
But anyway, the point is that what the fuck was the point? I forgot the point now, John. Thanks, John.
I'm sorry.
You forgot the point.
I'm sorry.
I was making a point. I'm sorry.
Your point was.
Oh fuck.
Your point was. I love all the people that come to this channel and our viewers and all that, but hey. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I don't know.
I love you too,
Wait,
John.
What? You said that I invoked a fallacy. I've never argued that because you're like, dense or an idiot or motivated that there's. Excuse me, sir. Calm down. I need you to calm down. I need you to calm down.
Sorry.
Okay. So it begins.
So, anyways, Speed, I've never said that you're wrong, right? That whatever you're saying is wrong because you're philosophically and not adept. Okay, I've never given you that such a fallacy. I've only insulted you. You need to distinguish. You need to distinguish an insult.
Self-awareness.
No, we are. Hold on.
Excuse me. Sorry.
No, wait, but we're allowed to respond to you.
I was talking.
No, you weren't. You stopped.
No,
No,
you're
you
done
weren't.
now.
You
I was
stopped.
talking.
No,
I was
you weren't.
talking.
You stopped.
Excuse me.
You stopped.
I'm sorry.
We're
No,
commenting. We're commenting
there
on
we
what you
go.
said now,
Look,
Danny.
you're right. There is a difference between an insult and an ad hom. Okay.
Yeah, there is.
And here's the thing. If you give an argument and explain why your interlocutor is wrong, and at the end you go, and by the way, you're a douche, that's just an insult. That's not an ad hom. But when you say that their argument is wrong based on their attributes, that is an ad hom. And you have done that many, many times, Dan.
False.
No, it's not
I've
false.
always given.
Okay, my turn to respond now, Danny.
Yeah, go ahead,
Okay,
speak.
Danny.
Even though I was being overtalked.
No, you weren't. You stopped.
Oh, you're going to get overtalked a lot when you're belligerent. But anyway, I'll go find you a really clear example of where rather than listen to what I'm saying, you basically fired back with "you don't understand" or "you're an idiot" or whatever.
Wait,
And
that's not an
and
ad
also,
hominem.
also okay, no, shut up. Also, don't insult me on my channel. You can insult me on your channel. If I come on your channel, you can insult me all you want. You do it on my channel, eventually you're not going to be welcome here.
That's fine. I don't really care, right? But the point is that if you treat me poorly, I will treat you poorly. Okay, and that's the way I operate. Okay. Now you act like a little 2-year-old. I act like a little 2-year-old. Why are you surprised? Okay. We had a very nice discussion yesterday, and you weren't part of it because. If you were, you would have just insulted me or said that I didn't understand and all sorts of things that I do to you. So if you want to cut that out, then I'll cut that out. Okay?
Well, you and I had a discussion yesterday, and I thought it went fairly well until I got tired.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't think we ended up insulting each other yesterday.
Yeah, so we can have eye level with the interlocutor that I'm talking to. Okay.
Look, can I explain something? Can I explain something to Jerry and a couple other people in the chat? Okay, here's the reason that what he does is an ad hom, okay? Because here's and this is what Speed was trying to say a minute ago, okay? So Danny doesn't specifically say you're this, you're that, therefore your reasoning is wrong. But what he does is he will give his argument about something. He will give his thinking on a matter. And then Speed often will go into what he thinks about it, and rather than hear him out or let him finish his point, Danny, well, you just don't understand. You're not an honest interlocutor, and just because he doesn't specifically say, well, and that's why he's wrong, it's still an ad hom given the context of the conversation.
Ad homs don't work that way. Let me explain.
No, they do work.
Let me.
Oh my God.
Okay, ad homs do work that way. Okay, now if I come back, you say something, and then I come back, and then I say, okay, I see it a different way, or I push back on what you said, and then you say, oh, you're not an honest interlocutor. Okay, you have just cut out everything I said, and you've used basically an ad hominem attack to resist what I said rather than consider what I said. So that, it is.
And consider and then rebut what you said. Rather,
and Danny, you don't have to fucking explain it to us. We can go to the wiki and read it. So stop explaining and just talk.
When I give an argument and you reply to it, but you're replying to something different than what I said, to say that you didn't understand me is not an ad hominem because I know what I mean, right? You don't know what I mean, not in the direct kind of way that I know what I mean. So if I said X is Y and Y is blah, 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 and then you interpret that incorrectly, then I'm fine with saying that you didn't understand. You don't understand what I'm saying, okay? That's not an ad hominem attack, okay?
You're not an honest interlocutor? What is that?
Look at everyone. I would point to the videos, right? When I say something like blah, 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 and you say, I disagree with you, you're wrong, and then you're not able to give the interpretation or understand what I said, and then further on in one of the videos you say, I simply don't care what you mean, that's a demonstration that you're not a serious interlocutor.
Yeah, you might have.
Hey, real quick, once again to the chat, Jerry Pana, timestamps. Okay, when have I ever said someone's argument is wrong because of some attribute of theirs?
I don't think you've done that. I will be honest with you. I don't think you've ever given that argument. You've just insulted me.
Yes, right, I insult people.
Yeah, that's fine. But you're charging me with saying something like Speed is wrong because he's
right. But I'm also admitting that it's not overt on your part, like that you're actually making the argument from that fashion. I mean, with your knowledge of philosophy, I would agree. You probably wouldn't slip up so far as to use an ad hominem argument. Okay, but what we're trying to say is that your comments, your actions in the context of the conversation and how you respond to some person's rebuttal of yours, it's kind of like this disingenuine,
it's called hand waving.
No. It's like this total disregard for that person, and it's not just the words you say. It's like the whole like attitude behind it. It really leaves the person that you're talking to, like Speed, sometimes like feels like you really are like just disregarding his points by pointing out that he doesn't understand or that he's dishonest or whatever the other things are you say.
No, I get that. I think what you're referring to is something called hand waving, and I do that, but that's not the same thing as an ad hominem, right? The idea is if someone says XYZ and I don't have the time or the energy, or I might not even have the knowledge how to respond, and I just say, well, look, I'm just dismissing what you're saying and I'm moving on. That's hand waving. That's not an ad hominem, right?
All right. Well, then let's just take what you said just now and let's go with that. Like, what we're accusing you of is hand waving, I guess.
I do hand wave. I do hand wave. And I think a lot of people do that.
You're right, Danny. Okay, you're right. Okay,
I agree with Christopher in the chat.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, boot the asshole.
Right below that, pop that up. The one right below that. John Peterson calling Danny a piece of shit is an ad hom. No, it's not. You don't understand what an ad hom is.
Okay. Anyway, done with the meta conversation. So here's the other book.
Basically. An ad hom would be. Wait a minute. An ad hom would be. Hey, your argument that you hand wave instead of ad hom is wrong because you're such an idiot. That's an ad hom. Okay. The ad hom is not just calling someone a name. A lot of people misunderstand that. So if I said to Danny, no, you're wrong. You ad hom. It's not hand waving. Instead of agreeing with him and said, and the reason you're wrong is because you're such a piece of shit. Well, then that would be an ad hom.
I technically agree with you, but we do a lot of people, because it's so misunderstood.
I thought we were done with this fucking conversation.
I'm not even disagreeing with him, right? I'm just reinforcing what John was saying. The idea is that colloquially, some people just mean insult when they say ad hominem, right?
He says to me to look it up.
There's like, I mean, I'm just saying, a lot of people when they say ad hom, they mean insult, and right. But I think when initially I interpreted you as saying that I do ad hominem fallacies, right? Which is to say.
Well, that's what we did originally contend, and I mean, but I'm willing to take your terminology and say it's hand waving.
Yeah, I do that.
But yeah, so that's over with. I apologize for commenting to the chat and derailing us. Go ahead, Speed.
Okay. Anyway, this is the other book that PC Myers uses, and I just thought I would break the meta conversation by showing a few pictures from that. Anyway, so what's up, guys? What's up, Peter?
I'm between shows at the moment, so I saw you guys were live, so I thought, hey, I'm gonna pop over.
Oh, cool.
As I usually do, but I'm usually silent in the chat. But I noticed someone blocked me.
Where?
On YouTube. He's in here. Otangelo.
Yeah.
Why did you block me?
Oh, Cell blocked me all over the place on his channel. He just does. He said, I don't want anything to do with you because you irritate me. I irritate him.
I think so. So I'm using his rules against him, and apparently his rules aren't good enough. So
and you have a wrench, don't you, Peter?
No,
I don't think Peter has a wrench.
No, I'm still naked in the chat.
Well, no, I mean they changed it on YouTube though. Now, when you have a wrench, you can't see the people who have blocked you anymore.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, I can't even find you, Peter. So I can.
No, because I can see Otangelo, and he's got me blocked everywhere.
Are you sure? Huh.
Absolutely.
Maybe the channel owners can have it set up a certain way, because I've been in certain channels that I have mods and I can't see people that have blocked me.
I left a comment in case you can't find me.
Yeah, I got you. You got a wrench now, so you can block Otangelo, and you have my permission to.
Okay, so
fire
here's
back.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I wouldn't block Otangelo because I would prefer to have a conversation with him. But apparently, I'm too intimidating or whatever. I don't know. It has happened with a couple of people. But Speed, is it okay for me to shill something?
Oh yes, definitely.
Okay, so in let me check. In 4 hours, Arn Ra is going to be live with Professor Dave.
Oh really?
Talking about people like Otangelo, so it might be interesting.
What time?
In 4 hours.
Well,
Oh,
I
that's
would be
cool.
happy to join the conversation. I invited Aaron Ra many times to have a debate, and he constantly denies it. So
Yeah, see, Otangelo, blocking people doesn't help your case because I'm his producer. I can put in a good word for you, but if you're just blocking me, why would I do that?
Yeah.
okay,
So I cannot find that video, Peter. On Arn's channel.
Oh wait, I'll get you a link.
Yeah, put a link out here so that we have it, and we will tune into that.
Yeah, it's from what I got, it's going to be fairly short show.
Okay.
But okay, put the link in. It's in Arn's matter of fact science series, and the title is Spotting Pseudoscience.
Okay.
well, what Aaron should do, Peter, is actually make a review of Dr. Tour's video series on abiogenesis and address each the single detailed points which Dr. Tour has made to refute Dave's arguments.
Well, you don't. Okay, so you don't.
Peter, can I just say one real quick thing? And it's a short video for you, Otangelo. Spotting pseudoscience is you just go find a mirror.
So here's the thing, Otangelo. I don't think that you realize how busy Arn actually is. He's got a lot on his plate, and he also still wants to talk to people who want to have a conversation with him. So he might be willing to do a series on Tour's videos, even though all of that has been debunked already so many times. So it would be
wow.
a bit irrelevant to respond to all of that.
Oh, really?
But-
wow.
Yes.
Yeah, James Tour is kind of a tool.
You see,
Yeah.
Peter, that is the reason why I blocked you, because I think it is pointless to have an interlocution with to have a conversation with you.
Why would you block me if I'm just being honest? I mean, this is my opinion. And so do I need to block people like you, Otangelo, because you've got a different opinion? And do I need to cancel people like you? I don't think so. I think
Well, you
we would be.
cooperate.
I think we would benefit more if we had a decent conversation, and I'm more than willing to have that conversation.
Well, I had
So-
that conversation already with you, and
No,
my
you
judgment.
haven't. No, you haven't.
I think we had already an interaction. I think it was at Jay Patrick's channel, and
Yes.
I felt that your questions were, I didn't like them. Okay?
Probing? Yeah, they were probing.
So the big problem with you, Otangelo, was that you at some point said that if you make a claim, you do not need an explanation for said claim. Whereas when we make a claim, you demand an explanation for that. And I just held you to your own standards, and that was the point where you stopped liking me.
That's interesting you say that, Peter, because I've noticed that in other venues. With
Yes, I think John was there too, and John did pretty much the same thing.
Yep, Cel Cordova, basically, he...
What did I do?
holding Otangelo to his own standards when he said that he didn't need an explanation of how God
Yeah.
created, but demanded from us an explanation on how abiogenesis happened.
Yeah.
So you can't have a double standard, Otangelo.
Why
If
can't
you're
you
going to
understand that,
if
Otangelo?
if you're going to demand an explanation from us, then you should be more than willing to give an explanation for your own claims.
I gave the explanation, and the answer is that intelligence is a capable mechanism to instantiate the things which we see in the cell. And you
Yes.
do not require an explanation of how actually intelligence is able to interfere in the physical world. That was my point.
Okay, and I will be more than willing to accept that. And if we now know that RNA can form spontaneously and RNA literally creates DNA, then there's no more explanation you need to accept abiogenesis, because this has happened in the lab. By accident, RNA created itself.
I think what it was
So-
is okay. Specifically, what it was, Otangelo, is you had said when Peter had said, "Well, you were invoking God, as far as the origin of life or some other closely related topic," and Peter had asked you, "Well, what's the mechanism God uses?
Yes.
How does he
Okay.
do it?" And your response, Otangelo, was, "I don't need to know how he does it because it's good enough that he does
Exactly.
it." And
Exactly.
and
Okay.
then Peter's just turning it around on you. Well, you don't need to know why abiogenesis, or what I can probably not saying it right. How it does what it does. It's good enough to know that it does it.
Yeah. So
Okay,
so
Peter,
the
Peter, in the
okay,
side chat-
Otangelo, let me explain this in an even simpler way. A capability is not a mechanism. You can have the capability to do something, but then you still have to explain how you do it. How you do it is the mechanism. And if you're asking us what the mechanism is that gives RNA the ability to create itself, then you should be more than willing to give us the explanation how your intelligent designer creates.
Okay,
And
two
that's all. And
answers.
that's all there is. I'm
Right.
not being aggressive. I'm always calm when I talk to you. I've never raised my voice. I've never insulted you. So that's why I don't understand why people like you block people like me. And
Okay.
that's just it.
Okay. You see in the side chat, in the private chat, I left a link, open questions in prebiotic chemistry to explain the origin of the 4 basic building blocks of life. You have the link there. I am open to have a conversation with you. My email is also in the side chat, so you can write it down. And if you can answer the questions which I am raising, and it's a long list, then I will actually grant you that eventually RNA and DNA can emerge prebiotically. Now, in regards of your thing that you think that we have to have an explanation of how intelligence can interact with the physical world, the fact is that we know by experience that it is possible because we can do it. We can think and will something, and then we can actually instantiate it through moving our arm, for example. Okay, so your
That's the
requirement
mechanism.
has already been answered. If we can do
No.
it, how much better could God interact with the physical world? So that's a non-issue.
Okay. Can I
Where's the
respond to
physics?
that? Can I respond to that, Otangelo? You literally just said we can will things. We can will things, but nothing will happen if we don't act. And
Right,
it's
but
the
we can
action.
do
It's the action that is the explanation. I can will you to unblock me. That it won't happen. If I
Right,
want you to unblock me, I need to address you. I need to talk to you. I need to be calm, respectful, which I am right now. That is the action. So that is the mechanism that I'm currently using to get you to unblock me on YouTube. The fact that I will you to unblock me isn't going to do anything.
Right, like
Well, the
if
thing
I
is
can-
that, well, the thing is that I can will to move my arm, and then I move my arm, and that demonstrates
Yes,
that
but you
will
need
can
to
physically instantiate something.
exactly. But
So
it's
that
not.
means that. So can I finish? So that means that God is also capable to will something to happen in the physical realm, and then He can instantiate it. If we can do it, why should God not be capable of doing the same?
Because
There's no matter.
we have arms. Does God have arms? Does God have technology to create?
Right.
We have that. We know that we have that, and we know that we use our limbs to operate machinery to create. We use our limbs to handle things. Does God do it the same way? Does God have arms and legs? Does he walk? Does he have some kind of storage where he has stuff that he uses to create? There are a lot of questions that people like you do not address. You just say,
Well,
well, God wills it and it happens. Okay, so how? How does it happen?
We
does
just
it
said the
mean that
word too.
does it mean that if we don't know
Magic.
the how, is it logically impossible?
No.
Okay,
It's
so
also not probable. Something has to be probable in order to even consider it. And
We
if
have
it's
people
so
not
Right.
if it's not probable, that doesn't mean it's impossible. It means it's improbable. So we're looking for a probable solution. And if you come up with an improbable solution, it's not worth taking that into consideration because we're going to need more from you than saying, well, it's not impossible. It's also not impossible for me to now go outside. I live in the country, and I could go outside and bump into a pink unicorn. It's not impossible. Is it now probable? I don't think so.
Exactly.
well, we have to wait to two proposition one to each to the other, and I mean what you have to stick to is that basically chance is a more capable and probable and possible mechanism to instantiate the physical universe and life rather than a super powerful
Okay.
intelligent.
Okay, but that's a straw man because no one is saying that it is
That is
chance.
chance, yeah.
No
So was
one.
it what is it?
Literally no scientist is claiming that it is chance.
Yeah.
So what is your mechanism then?
There are
Chemistry,
pathways of
physics.
likelihood.
Well, physics is not the mechanism.
What? It is to a mechanism.
Physics is a mechanism. So physics. Everything on this planet is subjective to gravity. For
Essentially, just give
instance,
me a headache.
Fundamental forces.
First you need to,
everything
first,
on this planet,
well,
everything on this planet is subjective to chemistry and how
first you
different
need to
chemicals react to each other, and the way chemicals react to each other, that is a mechanism.
Okay, first of all, you need the universe, you need the chemicals, you need the planet, you need everything fine-tuned, you need the laws of physics, you need the origin of the
No, you
universe.
don't need everything
and
to be
can I finish?
fine-tuned.
Can I finish? Can I finish?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
in special, you need information stored in DNA in order, or if you want RNA, in order to start to making the proteins and everything that is required for the operation of the cell. And in order to have information, we have never experienced that unguided random events can instantiate the assembly and instruction to make molecular machines and factories.
We have because we have
It's a
seen
faulty general.
RNA form itself by accident in a lab in an experiment that didn't have the goal to end up with RNA. But I also want to address the fine-tuning thing. So, do you think that holes in the ground need to be fine-tuned to obtain water after a rainfall?
No, but you need the fine-tuning to have the Big Bang, the expansion of the Big Bang.
That's not what I asked. Now you're moving the goalpost. Does a hole in the ground needs fine-tuning to contain water?
No.
No, and that's exactly how this universe worked. because we evolved according to the universe. The universe wasn't fine-tuned to make us evolve. There was no goal.
Well, you need a fine tuning even to start the initial conditions
No, you
of
don't.
the universe. Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Of course, you do.
All you need is a situation where different chemicals come together and form different strains that will end up in RNA. That is
I'm
all you
talking
need.
about the origin of the universe. Do you need fine tuning for the expansion of the universe?
No.
Of course, you do.
Why?
So
why
what-
would you?
so-
why would you
so-
need? Why would you need fine tuning for something that has no particular goal in mind?
That's not the issue, and that's precisely the thing which I don't
That is
like
the
about
issue.
you.
That is the issue. So the fine tuning is only relevant if there is a set goal. In the universe, there's no set goal. If there was a set goal in the universe, life would be everywhere, on every single planet we see, even in our own solar system. We could go to Mars and meet other people. If there was such a thing as fine tuning, then the entire universe would be fine tuned for us, which it isn't.
Okay, you need a correct expansion rate of the universe even to have a universe, and you need the right cosmological constant, which
Can
is
you
finely
demonstrate
tuned.
that?
Can I finish? You can lead. I can give you the link to the relevant scientific literature, which says that you need a fine tuning of the cosmological constant of 1 to 10 to the 123rd power, and if you don't have that, you don't have the right expansion rate of the universe. And
No.
if you don't have that, you will not have a life-permitting universe. And in
It's
order
not-
to have stars, can I
Otangelo,
finish?
please, please let me respond, because you're going off on a gish. You're going off on a gish. Okay, but you're going off on a gish gallop. Let me respond to every single point before you make another point.
Point of moderation,
Because,
moderation here, Otangelo. You got to be more brief. You can't gallop. Okay, just
Yes.
one thing. So he
I'm-
will interrupt you, and that's kind of a cue to turn the conversation over to the
I'm
other.
more than happy to respond, but you need to slow down so I can remember the points that you just brought up.
Right.
So, first of all, your chance of 1 to the gazillionth power, that's wrong. The chance for us being here is 1 in 1 because we're here. You're coming at it from a different direction, which is the wrong direction. We are here. We can demonstrate that we are here. So what is the chance after the Big Bang that we are here? The chance is 1 out of 1 because we have one Big Bang and we exist. So
You are
it's
applying
not 1 in the 250,000 millionth. It doesn't work that way. If we
Well,
are
you
here,
you have it wrong, and I can explain you why. Let's suppose that
Okay.
you want a specification of a sequence, like, for example, a row starting from 1 until 500, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4. That specific sequence in a row, okay? So in order to have that specific sequence, you have 1 to 10 to the, let's suppose, a thousandth of
agree.
power of different
I agree.
possibilities which are not correct, and only one in all those sequence spaces is the correct one. And the
I
same
agree.
and the same
I-
goes in regards to the expansion rate of the universe.
No,
You
no.
the expansion rate must be just right. And if you don't have it right, then the universe will expand too fast, or it will recollapse into itself, and then you cannot have a life-hosting universe. And that is the problem.
Otangelo, you're making the exact same mistake. You started off with if you want, which means if you have a specific goal. The universe doesn't have a specific goal, so it doesn't want.
Of course, it doesn't want. But if we say that the universe has to be finely tuned in order to permit life, then it has to have the cosmological constant right.
Okay.
And
Okay,
it
let's-
does have
let's-
it. Can I
let's
finish?
take
Can I
that.
finish? Can I finish, please? And it does have to have it right. And it has it right because it is finely tuned in 1 to 10 to the 123rd power, and that requires an explanation.
Okay, so let's take that point. So let's say the universe had a different expansion rate. What life would there be in that universe? And how do you
There would-
know what? How
you
do you
would-
know? How do you know that?
Well, as I said previously, you would either have an expansion rate which would be too fast, and then you would have just black holes, or it would collapse into itself and then back to the singularity, and you would
And what-
not have a
what-
life-permitting universe.
Okay, what time would it take for it to collapse back into itself?
I don't know.
Are we talking days, hours, years, millions of years, trillions of years? What are we
Can
talking
I-
about?
Can I also
Well,
say that the expansion
know.
rate of the universe has changed as well through time?
Well,
Yes,
of course, because
it's speeding up.
yeah.
But can you answer my question? So let's say that it would have expanded not as fast as it did now, and it would collapse back into itself. In how much time would it collapse back into itself, and how do you know this?
Well, it would depend on the expansion rate.
Okay, so there is a possibility that there would be an expansion rate in which it would allow for, let's say, 14 billion years before it started collapsing back onto itself. So that means that we could still be here?
Well, I've not studied that question, so I cannot answer it.
Exactly. And I think you haven't studied the question. You picked that up, and I've heard it many times before. And you think it's an
Peter.
argument, and I don't think it is.
Peter, can I interject because there's a pretty interesting question in the chat for Otangelo. And of course I want to. Okay, yeah, Benghazi asked Otangelo what, because like Peter just pointed out, the chances that we're here are 1 in 1 because we are here. Okay, but ask Otangelo, what are the odds of God creating the universe, and explain how you got there to come to determine those odds.
Yeah, how would you calculate that probability?
Well, the probability is 1 because if he is all powerful and can do whatever is possible.
No, we don't know for sure, Tangelo. So the probability can't be 1. So it's just like abiogenesis. We're suggesting that abiogenesis happened, and you calculate the probabilities for us. Now you should calculate the probabilities for your God creating the universe. I think.
Okay, what is the probability to make machines and factories by intelligence?
Aqui está resumo de
1,
Khan Academy.
because
Probability, the basics.
What's happening?
the probability, Otangelo, is 1 because we have factories. What is the probability? What is the probability? Because we currently, as humans, have been presented with millions of gods, which are currently still worshipped. Not talking about 1, talking about millions. Because the Hindus do have millions of gods. So what's the probability that your God was responsible instead of all those other millions who may have done it?
Before I answer your question, what is the probability that random unguided events make machines and factories and blueprints which direct the making of them?
Zero, because it hasn't happened yet. Okay, so, but can you please answer my question?
No, I will answer it. So in that case, since cells...
No, don't go off on your question. Answer mine. I answered yours. I asked you a question. Address my question.
I will come back to that point afterwards.
No. We're not going to come back because you just interrupted with your question. I was at least cordial enough to answer your question. So now answer my question, and then if there's more time, we can go back to yours. How's that?
It can be any intelligence. It can be Hindu intelligence from the Hindu gods, from the Muslim god, from the Christian god, from the God of the Old Testament, whatever intelligence you want to posit. It has to be intelligence because.
Well, wait a minute. That was not an exhaustive list of all possible intelligences, though.
Yes.
Whatever. I just whatever intelligence is a possible explanation. Now,
all you named were gods. All you named were gods, though.
Whatever intelligence you want to mention is a possible explanation. Now let's come back and compare it to non-intelligence. You confirmed that I agree with you, Peter, that we have never observed that non-intelligence can make blueprints and upon them directing the making of machines, production lines, computers, factories, transistors, and energy plants and turbines. Okay, but that's all what we see in the cell.
I've got a great question for you. How many computers has God created?
I think that each neuron is a computer.
No, I'm asking you how many computers. We know what a computer is. A computer is something that you can go on the internet with, where we can talk to each other, something that you're using right now. How many has your God created?
No, I would like that you answer actually now to my point.
No. You brought this on. So I'm now turning this back on you. You told me that you need an intelligent designer to create computers. So your intelligent designer, whatever the designer may be, whether it's the Christian God or another God, how many computers have they designed? And I'd love to hear the brand because mine's imperfect. So if there's a perfect being that created a perfect computer, I'd love to buy one.
Well, I think about perfection, that is an entirely different point. The fact is that intelligence can make computers, and each neuron is a computer.
And the fun fact is, the fun fact that I'm pointing out, because you're deflecting.
Tangelo, you didn't respond to Peter's question.
Yes, because you're deflecting again. I want to know how many computers your intelligent designer has created up until now. Or has he created a drill or a car or a table or a chair? Has he created any of those things? Because apparently the things that humans can create, you never find a God who can create something like that.
We know that each neuron is more complex and more sophisticated.
So you're not going to answer my question. You're not going to answer my question.
The question is, how many computers has your God designed? Not how many can he design, not how many can he potentially design, how many has he designed?
Well, he instantiated life, and I think he instantiated How many computers? Speed! I would like to be able to actually answer because I'm being interrupted constantly.
You keep calling it.
I am.
No, you're not.
Hey, real quick, I haven't said much. Just let me interject a quick thought here. Actually, Otangelo, it seems like you do everything you can not to answer when someone
Exactly.
Well, couldn't a collection of neurons be a computer?
The question was, how many computers has God created? And you're going back to life. Life is a computer.
So he's saying nature is his God.
Neurons are computers in a literal sense.
Nature and natural processes is your God, then.
Okay, no, Otangelo, I'll take you up on this. How do we program a neuron?
I'll give you a link, and you guys can look it up.
If it's a computer, do we have different operating systems like Apple and iOS and Windows? Who's designing that?
Okay, I'll put the link in the side chat. If you want to put it in public chat, you can do it. The brain is a uber computer, far more sophisticated than man-made computers. Okay?
So you're not going to answer any question.
I can accept the proposition, but the question is still, what is the processor that the brain uses?
Yes.
What are the resistors? Where are the transistors? What are they made of? What are the equivalents that you're trying to draw here? Because all computers we know have those components and many, many more.
A transistor can be, can I answer? A transistor can be considered an artificial neuron. Yeah, every living cell within us is a hybrid analog digital supercomputer. The brain is like 100 billion computers working together. Biological cells are, can I finish? Biological cells are programmed to be experts at taking inputs, running them through a complicated series of logic gates.
He's reading.
Through circuit-like operations and producing the desired programmed output.
Okay.
He was reading.
And the third, the origin of programs, logic gates, and complex circuits to obtain a purposeful, specific outcome is always tracked back to intelligent.
I don't need to regard. I'm not interested in the origin question, or else I would have asked it. Now, are myelin sheets and things? I'm trying to talk. Are myelin sheets and any other cellular component of a cell artificial? Or are they natural?
What?
Are components in the cell, such as myelin, such as proteins, such as other things that cells have in them, natural or artificial?
Okay, the fact that we are looking at
it's
what
a very
you call natural. Can I
natural
answer?
or artificial? It's a very basic.
Okay,
There's
natural.
two responses you can give.
Okay, natural.
So why are you appealing then to artificial neurons in your explanation of various components of the cell being a computer?
Well, no, I described exactly what happens in neurons.
You still have failed to
artificiality. That's what is observed in natural neurons, in brain neurons.
Otangelo, why won't you answer my question about the operating system? Is it because you don't have a website to pull up to read off of? Because that is clearly what you're doing.
What's in it that you're asking about the operation system?
How many operating systems do we have for the neurons that you mentioned, and who made the operating systems? What's the difference between the operating systems, and just how do we program neurons? You did not address that.
Well, I am not sure if I don't have a question to that, but maybe it is possible. I don't know if neuroscience is actually trying to do that. I mean, they try to make an interface between the machine and the brain, and probably they are trying actually to program neurons. I've not investigated this, but I think it's possible.
There's another Dutch guy in the side chat, Neslik. He said, "Ask Otangelo if the brain is a literal computer. What is the software?"
And again, what are the transistors?
Well,
what are the computers?
Well, I would say that the gene regulatory network is probably the software. And I mean, there are over 40 different.
That's the hard. That's the hardware.
There are over 40 different epigenetic codes in cells, and of course the DNA. And I think that that answers your question.
No, it doesn't, because what you're calling codes is chemistry. It's not a code. So we're still back to Neslik's question: what is the software?
What are you talking about? I am talking about epigenetic codes.
I asked you. I'll try to simplify the question. There's a distinction between software and hardware. Hardware is the material that you see, which would be what you just listed as the neurons, the brain, the nerve system. That's the hardware. Now, the software can be programmed from the outside. So what is the software?
Well, for example, we have how are they called? The histones. Okay, the histones, they have a histone tail, and that histone tail has a specific sequence. It is called the histone code, and that sequence.
Is it material?
Can I answer a question? If you listen, you will understand what I am saying. Okay.
Okay.
So that sequence on the histone tails is a specified complex sequence which is read by readers, by erasers, and by writers.
How can he understand what you're saying when you're not just
Can I
saying
finish?
something,
Can I
reading
finish?
something?
Can I finish?
Well, but
please?
hold on. I just want to clarify.
No,
Why do you have to
no.
read
You
it?
can ask.
Why can't
You can
just
ask.
answer
You
the
can
question?
ask. John, you can ask when I finish. You can
Well, no,
write
because you're just
down.
reading something.
Well,
And Speed was just balking at that a moment ago, saying, "Hey, don't read stuff." He asked you a question. Why can't you just speak extemporaneously?
I am not reading.
Oh my God! It's so obvious you're reading something that deaf people can understand.
Otangelo, let's cut this short. Let's cut this short. The things you mentioned. How do we reprogram that? And he's done.
I mean, the other question you could have asked as well is that all current computers that exist, we understand in a stepwise fashion how to create those things and to maintain them, right? Yes. Like you can tell me the process is to create a new computer and crap like that, and I can do it. I have to given enough time and given enough pain. But with something like the brain and its processes, we don't know how to reconstruct that type of thing.
So hang on a second. Hold on. Okay, when somebody's talking and they're going on and they've gone on too long, like Otangelo does, and somebody else comes in and just wants to make a short comment, and then Otangelo starts saying, "Can I finish? Can I finish?" And he refuses to shut up. He's doing the same thing Danny does, and they get muted or booted because of that. And I think it would be a lot easier if they would understand just the practical rules of how you have a fucking conversation. Well, I mean, it's that hard to have a fucking conversation. You just let the other person say, "Hey, you're just galloping," and then go on.
I was trying to get Otangelo to do 5 minutes ago.
I know. I'm getting all this pushback because I mute Otangelo and because I mute Danny. And the reason I do it is because they don't know how to shut up long enough to let a person. Like John usually says a 30-second thing. Let him fucking say it. And Peter was trying to interject and say, "You're galloping." And Otangelo, "Can I finish? Can I finish?" And I'm sick to death of sorry, and "Can I finish? Can I finish?" And
it's funny too because Doc and I realized that several months ago when we were having our open rooms, and so then we talked to the people that were in the room at one point or a couple times, and I had to learn this too in modding the room, is that if you don't let people interject when a back and forth is going on,
right,
you miss out on a lot of stuff. I mean, because somebody that's outside the conversation might have something probative to add, or somebody like me might just have a little joke to make or something like that. So we implemented the idea that, in a big room, two people are having a one-on-one and you're a third party and you just want to interject something real quick, that we told the people, well, look, just say, "Hey, real quick. And then you can jump in and say your little thing. And that's all there is to it,
I know I interrupt people, and I've been told that I interrupt people, and I'm open for criticism when it comes to that. But if someone is going to make 10 or 15 points, it is hard to respond to the first one, because by the time you come to 15, you've forgotten the first one. And if that one is important, you need to be able to interject. And
that's what
shouldn't get up. People shouldn't be upset when that happens. You're asking for clarification. You want to respond to everything they say. And this is just trying to get back on track.
I have two toddlers that are coming in here, Danny and Otangelo, and they can't do anything but yell over a person, and then it becomes a back and forth. And the only way for me to handle that is to kick the two toddlers out.
No, there's another way. We need to get you to have you get the script, because even if you're not using it, even if you're not
mute everybody.
No, you can mute people separately.
Well,
they won't be able to unmute. You can mute them, and then you have to unmute them.
Yeah.
That's the key. I even did that to Speed here the other day, and I apologized to him this morning. He muted me, and I knew I could unmute myself, so I muted my. Yeah, what is it? You have to have like that special program that like the that kind of lets you do other things on
OBS.
Oh.
OBS, basically.
Yeah. If you could just mute somebody, then and they stay muted until you unmute them, then you wouldn't have to. You wouldn't have to put anybody backstage.
Here's the thing. I don't know, Speed, how long you wanna go on, but we've got Standing in the side chat. Maybe he can answer the questions that Otangelo couldn't.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and then it would be cool. But real quick, I have something real quick to address. And since Jerry is still going on and on about it in the live chat, I'd like to address this. I mean, first of all, I think he has a man crush on Danny, and I think he has a hate crush on me. But
Jerry?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Jerry's been pushing back on me, and and I try to reason with him and explain what my rationale is for popping Danny out of the goddamn thing, and it's just that Danny is really, really the one that causes the chaos. I mean, it doesn't happen with anybody else. There are a couple bad players. I don't want this shit to just be a bunch of boring people. Because if you listen back to this stuff and two people are shouting over each other, I mean, I will tune away from the channel because that shit is going on.
Hey, can you share my screen?
You have to moderate it though.
Oh no, is this like a bad signal for Danny?
Well, no, it's just I just want to clarify because somebody in the live chat, not to mention any names, it rhymes with Jerry Penna, was saying for me to look up what AdHom is, even though I already knew what it was. And my understanding of AdHom comes from, oh, wait a minute, I'm on the wrong thing to move that up. Hold on.
Yeah, come on in, Stanley, and finish for Otangelo.
Okay. Yeah, and this is from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, one of the preeminent reference online references for philosophical issues and definitions. And this is the 13th entry in the list of fallacies. The ad hominem fallacy involves bringing negative aspects of an arguer or their situation to bear on the view they are advancing.
That's exactly what he did.
Right. There are three commonly recognized versions of the fallacy. The abusive ad hominem fallacy involves saying that someone's view should not be accepted because they have some unfavorable property, like being a bad interlocutor or not having good understanding. Thompson's proposal for the and this is an example of it. Thompson's proposal for the wetlands may safely be rejected because last year he was arrested for hunting without a license. That's an ad hom, okay? Another more subtle version of the fallacy is the circumstantial ad hominem, in which, given the circumstances in which the arguer finds himself or herself, it is alleged that their position is supported by self-interest rather than by good evidence. Hence, the scientific studies produced by industrialists to show that the levels of pollution at their factories are within the law may be undeservedly rejected because they are thought to be self-serving. So in other words, to just simply assume that a person who could benefit from proving that they weren't polluting the environment you can't rule their argument or their data out of hand just because that there's it could be a self-serving motive. All right, the third version of the ad hominem fallacy of the tu quoque. I'm not going to read the rest of that. Everybody should know what the tu quoque fallacy is.
Yeah. Right. I think the more important thing is that you should tell people. I wanted to ask Danny before he left or was kicked or whatever. I mean, everyone has their own place. Probably the rules in your house. Do you want people to abide to those rules or not? If the answer is yes, then you should abide to the rules that other people have in their house, which is pretty much, in this case, Speed's house. He makes the rules. If he says we don't allow this to happen, it shouldn't happen, and it shouldn't be too difficult to at least stick to those rules if you want to contribute to a channel.
Yeah, I was talking to Speed about that earlier today. And again, I was apologizing to him because, yeah, even though I agree with Speed's assessment, and it's like my reactions to how Danny handles himself, they go over the edge and they do kind of like disregard what Speed's rules are. And I think that's what, Jerry's trying to say is, man, from the outside looking in, it looks like that Speed is treating Danny differently than me, but Speed's just looking at it as they're both of them are problems, but this problem's bigger than that one, So.
Well, part of it is me being passive aggressive. I'm letting you do my work for me, John, because at the point I'm ready to pop, you pop, and then I just let you take the heat for me. And basically, as I've been doing this since last May, almost a year now, and I'm kind of like growing a pair, and I'm getting a little better at moderating my own channel and being a little selective about what I want in here and what I don't want in here, where I want this to go.
Speed.
But yeah, I'm being passive aggressive. Anyway, Peter.
Speed. Yeah. Jerry Penna just put something in the side chat, and he said, "True, but that you have a double standard."
I do.
We talked about this off air. Remember where you told me why you would silence certain people and not others. I think that was the one where the kerfluffle between Otangelo and oh damn, I forgot his name. My favorite angry person, help me out.
Darth Dawkins.
No.
Angry
Leo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We talked offline about that, and I told you in that case, if Leo is the aggressor, you need to mute Leo. And so you said, but there are certain people I like to have on my channel, so I give them a little. I just give them a little bit more slack. That's up to you. If you've got people. Yeah, you don't want to alienate people you want to come on your channel, so I get that, but
so I'm going to be a little biased because Scott and Immutable and Leo and John, all you guys show up every day, and support me, and I'm a little reluctant to piss you guys off. I mean, that's pretty normal, I think.
It's probably why you have more people on your channel than I have on mine, because I will just silence everyone regardless. I mean,
if you want fair treatment, go to channel.
Well, and the other side of that coin too is like, I don't want to alienate certain people from my channel. And the flip side of that coin is there's certain people that I'm going to correct, and I don't give a fuck if they come to the channel or not. I mean, I'm not saying that Danny's one of those people, but
well, it's the thing is, it is a fine line you need to balance, and you need to make your own decisions about where you want to go with your channel. And if that means that you're going to mute certain people and you don't mute others, then that is just the case. That's where your channel is going. If people don't
the idea too of that. Okay, so in the chat yesterday and previously, Leo himself he said it in this room, and he put it in the live chat on the stream. He was referring to me and Speed as Gavin and Praise. That this channel was evolving into a Gavin and Praise situation because it happened a couple times with one specific.
I mean,
there's only a few people I mute, so
Gavin boots people, mutes people, as much as he breathes.
Well, I've watched a fair amount of shows. I don't think that it is nearly as bad as that.
That wasn't me, by the way.
That's Scott.
Hey, so real quick, two quick points.
What did Scott do?
Make a noise.
2 quick points from the live chat. First of all, Jerry Penna from the movie Stripes with Bill Murray. Lighten up, Francis, okay? He says, John Peterson, I have a man crush on Danny, ? Listen to yourself. Hey, dude, take it with a fucking joke, for Christ's sakes. Like, sorry I bruised your delicate flower-like sensibility. And then this one guy always seems so like clueless as to why I dislike some of his actions. And I know that probably doesn't bother, but to me, if you come into another person's stream and post in the live chat, hey, if any of you are bored, come on over to this other stream. You're a dick, dude. Okay, I mean that's a dick move. Not very quick.
That's something you don't do. I wouldn't do that when I'm on someone else's channel. As earlier, I asked if I could shield something, and that's going to be on when this is finished.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I've accidentally done that before. By the way, like I wanted to say, like regarding the whole double standard thing, like so that might turn off some people and they might stop watching. Then again, Speed, it is your channel, and you want to give some people leeway, which that's fine.
Trying to find a balance,
Yeah,
Leo mentioned
Otangelo's still here. So
yes, hi, I'm Otangelo.
He answered our question.
Yeah, he hasn't unblocked me yet. So
scientists, hackers, human cell, and reprogram it like a computer.
Yeah.
Okay. Otangelo, I have a quick question for you. Did you happen to read I can't pronounce his fucking last name. Did you happen to read Tom Max Life 3.0? Because I really got to read that book.
Take Mark.
I also hate to bring this up, but there's another thing that hacks human cells as well, and they're called viruses.
Yeah.
Are viruses also intelligent designers?
Yes.
Oh wait, are you saying it is like a computer? It has viruses? Just kidding.
I thought I've seen.
Now the only other thing we need is malware.
Yeah.
Does God make malware?
Well, prions.
Yeah.
Prions are pretty damn close.
Pretty close to malware. Yep.
Guys, you're making Otangelo's point.
Okay. Honestly, that's why
God creates computers and then he creates viruses and malware to fuck with us.
Yeah, that's why I left last time. By the way,
there's a discussion about is the brain a computer, and what is the software and what is the hardware. And when you look at when you start looking at the brain in that fashion, you find out that there is no clear way to say that the neurons are the software or the hardware. You can't make that distinction with biological systems, but you can make that with computer hardware. And if you really think about it, that breaks this whole bullshit.
I mean,
I also would argue that it is not similar because your brain will make different decisions at different times. So if you're going to walk off a cliff and you survive, the next time you're not going to walk off that same cliff. Right. Even if everything else is exactly the same as the first time it happened, your brain will do something different, not act like a computer, and it will stop you from dropping off a cliff a second time.
Can that be software though?
Can you share Otangelo's last comment from the chat, Speed?
Yeah, I can find. Okay, another thing that's really important is that if you run Microsoft Word on your computer 5 times in a row, and then you pop it up again and you try to run Excel, your computer will run Excel. It won't run Microsoft Word. Whereas your brain, that's how it works. If you do something 5 times in a row, the next time you wake up, that's the first thing that your brain is going to do, is whatever in the hell you did. And that is a very big difference between brains and computers. I'm trying to find Otangelo's comment.
No, it's so far back now. It starts with if someone claims. No, it's the before that, because it took me a minute to get in and say, there you go. If someone claims that cells has no software, that person needs a basic biology course.
I can turn it back on the person by saying if a cell does have software, they probably should actually read biology.
Okay, that's cool.
Did he also just say that the devil is writing?
I actually asked Speed to share that comment so I could comment on it, but I guess Immutable wasn't down with that. But all right.
Well, you can comment on it as well, John. I mean,
no, because you said what I was going to say.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Did Otangelo just say in the chat that the devil is a programmer as well? So we've got two intelligent designers working on the computer that is the brain.
Apparently.
So the devil, the devil's writing software, so he's as powerful as God. Are you sure, Otangelo, that you want to go there?
I mean, look, the proof against God is that Italians exist.
Well,
Fuck you, Immutable.
I mean, here's the
That's
thing
saying.
too. Is like he claims. I was just watching a video that was talking about a lot of the different things that biologists have pointed out over the years. Things about the human body's design that no designer would have ever done. Like, what's that one nerve that like takes this big circuitous route around your body, and then the breathing hole right next to the eating hole. People choke and shit like that. It's like. Yeah.
It's worse.
I know it's the difference between the esophagus and the.
John, it's worse because apparently the intelligent designer did get that right in dolphins and whales. So he can do it, but he just wanted to fuck with us.
Well, and then
have people choke to death.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, okay, so Otangelo, how do you explain your perfect being designer every time a child's born with a cleft palate? Every time a child's born with missing limbs? Like, doesn't sound like an intelligent designer to me that is supposed to be perfect.
So Nestle just posted a paper by Nicholson, the guy that we reviewed, Scott.
I know.
And
I was there too, asshole.
Yeah. Immutable was there. Oh,
Jesus.
Yeah. Who are you again, Immutable?
The guy that's always in your streams, remember? That was your claim.
No, you're the guy that's always at the mall.
He's the mall guy.
Oh, okay. People having a social life is evil now. Okay, fine.
Okay. A little spat going on here, a little lover's quarrel. But anyway, so this Nicholson paper on being the right size is about these engineering algorithms, and he asked me to look at one of them, and I'm trying to find Nicholson's paper, oh my goodness, why don't I have Nicholson 2020 in my document? Oh, sorry. Let me just work on this for a minute.
Technical difficulties, please stand by.
Yeah.
Boomer difficulties, please stand by.
Boomer difficulty. Well, I should have that paper somewhere because I know I download. Anyway, it came up on Academia, so it's one of Nicholson's newer papers. We can take a look at it. Okay, Boomer has to take comment off screen, or John get mad, right?
No, I don't care.
You don't care.
I've never said anything about that before. Your mistake.
Where's Nicholson? No, you never picked on me. Okay. So this paper on being the right side, the problem with engineering metaphors. And we did Is the Cell a Machine, which was his previous paper. And this is the
How big is that one?
No. This one?
30 pages?
This one is, let me see here. Whoops. Yeah, but without the references, about 24 pages. So this might be an easier one for us to go through than the one we're trying to go through, which we haven't been very good at. But Nestle asked me to look at one particular, and I lost the comment. Does anybody remember? Metaphor number 1, genetic program. Okay. So where's, let's see if we can find metaphor number 1, in the right size, redeployment of.
Speed. Can Otangelo come back because he's going apeshit in the live chat?
Yeah, he can come back if he wants. I won't mute you for a while, Otangelo, as long as you try to behave a little bit.
Wait a minute, what the hell was that double-ended thing?
Oh, metaphor number 1.
Oh, and Otangelo, unblock me so I can't see your comments. Oh, wait, I can see them, but not on my own account.
Oh. First, engineering metaphor, I shall discuss the perennially popular notion that every cell contains a genetic program that directs and controls its functions by executing a predetermined set of operations. Okay. So can everybody read that, or do I got to make it bigger?
Make it bigger.
Make them bigger.
Like, can you present the paper without the pages along the side of it? That might help make it bigger.
I don't think there's a way to do that with the program that I'm using. No.
Okay.
So, and no, there's other ways to make it bigger, and that's
Holy shit!
Is it bigger now?
I mean, I don't know. I don't have my screen blown up myself. If that's somebody else. Otenko Grasso says, Deslick 20. Are you telling me there is no engineering in the cell?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what everybody's telling you to do.
Well, if he's reacting to Deslick recommending this paper, I would say read the paper, Otangelo.
Yeah, it's not Nestle claiming that, it's the paper claiming that.
Yeah, read the paper. There's even references.
Okay, I'll give you just another paper here, just a minute, okay?
Is it one you got?
I got papers too.
Oh boy, are you going to present another paper?
Well, while you're at it, Otangelo, did you unblock me already?
Now he's doing the passive aggressive thing. He's not going to communicate with you anymore, Peter.
Because he's already established that he believes all this mechanistic stuff about the cell. My question is, has he studied to where he could validly repeat back the other side, which is that it's not necessarily a good metaphor to use the machines, the factories, and the program?
I can answer that. The answer to that is no.
Well, and you know what? Here's the thing. It might sound like a horrible time, but myself personally, individually, considering what happened the last two times, I welcome Otangelo sharing a paper with us that supposedly bolsters his arguments. Because the last two times it was just a glorious, fucking time when he did that. And so if he wants to share a paper, I say we let him do it for entertainment value.
Before Angelo shares his doctoral dissertation thesis, Speed, I noticed like the very first page of this says 2. So is this a sequel to the paper we read on stream?
The cellular?
The cell being a machine?
Yeah. This is the one right after that paper.
Okay.
This is a sequel. Anyway, Otangelo has a paper from 1991.
Oh boy,
that he wants to put out, and it's called cellular engineering or something like that. Let's see what the fuck is it called. Oh, I'm trying to download it.
I just googled that. So if you Google cell engineering, you will get up a lot of science papers.
You will get a lot of papers calling the cell and machine, and that was a paradigm from 1991. But you creationists keep pointing out to us that we don't keep current with the science. The paper I'm showing is from 2020. In fact, I just got it 3 weeks ago on Academia. He just released this paper, so I think.
And I'm sure whoever wrote this paper would take your paper from 1991, where it's talking about cellular engineering, and he would balk at it because they're saying now that it's a disservice to use that type of terminology because of the way people like you,
interpreted it.
Otangelo, can I ask you a question? How much time a week do you spend on Googling things that don't agree with your worldview?
Yeah. Good question.
Well, I think that the entire science endeavor, the modern scientific framework is on methodological naturalism. And therefore, you hardly will find a science paper which will agree with intelligent design. So I spent basically my entire research with science papers which do not agree in their inference of the evidence with my inference, with my explanation. Okay?
There's strong reasons why intelligent design isn't treated as science. That's because in court cases it failed to show itself anything close to near that.
Well,
and I don't know how in any way
real quick,
was answering his question.
Well, but real quick, that's kind of what I want to address. Your explanation of the question that Peter asked you was a perfect explanation of confirmation bias. Okay,
Yeah.
because that's why when you get into the nuts and bolts of this with people like Immutable and Scott and Speed and and Peter that know what they're talking about as far as like biology and evolution, that's why you really never have an answer to their questions, because you have not examined the model that they accept. It's all well and good that you could be a creationist, but once I would like a creationist to, go into an argument, go into a debate, and not only give their model of creationism, but understand biology well enough, or evolution well enough to point out the actual flaws in it, if there are any. I mean, because there are aspects of it that they don't 100% know. And I never hear you talking about that stuff. Like, you're just basically, you say, I don't agree with this paper. I don't, like you just said a minute ago, they're based on methodological naturalism, and I don't agree with that.
If I may,
Can I respond to Otangelo's answer? So, Otangelo, you just said that basically everything in science is going against your worldview. Why do you think that the majority of science is going against your worldview of intelligent design? Is there a conspiracy there? Is there any specific goal that they don't agree with you?
Do you know history how the scientific framework has developed, Peter?
Yes, that's not an answer to my question, though. But yes, I do.
Have you heard about the X Club, and led by Thomas Huxley of the Royal Society in the 19th century?
No, enlighten me.
I can give you a link and you can have read on that.
The 19th century.
Why do you always need to read off of other people's work? Apparently, you think you know this, so you can just say this in your own words, right?
Could I interject?
Yes, I can. If I'm not interrupted, then I can explain it to you. But since you guys want answers in 1 minute, I cannot give it.
Angelo, I need to interject first. Okay. So this paper you brought called Cellular Engineering, do you understand what this paper is about? This
No,
paper
I just Googled it. Maybe it has nothing to do with what we're talking about, okay?
Otangelo, you brought this paper to us, okay? This paper is about actual cellular engineering. That's where biologists and medical professionals actually go into a cell and try to engineer it. It's not about.
I understand. Yeah.
Okay, do you understand?
I give that to you.
So you brought the wrong paper again? This happened again? You brought the wrong paper for your.
No, I don't think the other one was wrong. Okay, we have not even gone through what the other.
Wait a minute!
You have
so.
Yeah.
Otangelo, you have to read more than just the title of the paper.
Yeah, you have to read more than the introduction and the abstract.
I just explained what I did. I just quickly gave a Google research in regards of cell engineering, and I agree that that paper hasn't to do with what we were discussing.
Okay.
So why?
So wait a minute. So you were So you were totally unfamiliar with the paper. You Googled it just now.
Yeah,
yes, of course. Yeah, I just Googled it right now.
Okay, so Otangelo, let's get back to my question. So why does the majority of science go against your particular worldview? Why is that?
Because in the 19th century paper, the X Club, they adopted a philosophical framework of methodological naturalism, where supernatural explanations are a priori excluded as a possible explanation of natural phenomena.
That's not the case, but
no, that's not the case.
Of course, it's the case. I just gave the link. You guys
it's not the case.
About it.
It's not the case. If you can present a supernatural event to scientists that interacts with our world, we can investigate that. So no, that's not the case. Also, if that were the case, then uh, is this a big conspiracy where people want to just deny your particular god or all gods, or what's the goal in denying that? What's their goal? What's the goal in science to deny supernatural events?
Okay, there are two kinds of science endeavor. One is operational science, and the other is historical science. In regards of operational science, can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish?
No, I'm not going to let you have that, because
okay,
that's
so I'm leaving again. Okay, so I'm leaving again because I am not.
Goodbye. You can't behave, Otangelo.
Potentially, we'd like to contend the distinction you're making between observational and historical science.
Yes, there's no such thing. There's science, period. There's no observational and historical science.
Do you know what the difference is?
Can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish? Otangelo, I'll do the same thing you do to me. Can I finish, please?
Just
first, before you start answering? What you brought up is a construct that Ken Ham is famous for, because he wants to make a distinction between two kinds of science which don't exist, so that he can slip in his pseudoscience. So no, I'm not going to allow you operational and historical science, because they're both science.
Is there a difference? Is there a difference between asking how something works and how something in the past came to be?
Not functionally.
There would be different scientific methods applied to those different questions. The same
Correct,
thing.
Exactly. So that's the distinction.
Hold on. I wasn't finished. The same thing would be that scientific research on biology would be completely different from scientific research on constructing a bridge or a building. And it is still the same method that they're using, but other aspects of that same method. And you didn't answer my question. My question to you was, what is the goal for science to deny supernatural intervention? What is the goal? What's the benefit for the scientists in just throwing out supernatural things?
I ask myself the same, Peter. You should ask the scientific establishment why they don't.
I know the answer. I want to know your.
Can I finish? Can I finish?
Yes,
can I finish?
You can,
okay.
But you're,
so
you're not answering my question.
Yeah, I am precisely addressing what you're asking. I think that in regards of origins and questions about how things came to be in the past, all possible explanations should be permitted to be put on the table, and that includes intelligent design. No, so show me a science paper in regards of the origin of life with which at the discussion of the evidence comes to conclusion based on the evidence that we see software in the cell intelligence is
okay. I can answer that question. I can answer that question.
Comes from ICU.
Guys, wait. I can answer that question. So the reason we do not see any involvement of intelligent design is because we have not ever observed intelligent design interfering with the natural world. If you know of any instance that we can go back and look at and see that, yes, now we've got something that we don't have an explanation for, then you're free to put that to the scientists and they will investigate. The problem is, people like you never come up with a situation like that. You never come up with, okay, for instance, the created kinds. Not a single creationist has come up with what exactly the created kinds are, what they looked like, and how many there were. Not a single one. All you do is try to poke holes in a theory you don't understand, but you do not come up with a model of your own. You do not come up with a creation model. You do not come up with how God created everything. What was the source material? What was the mechanism that turned the source material into the living organisms we see today? And what was the first organism? You don't investigate in that. You don't want to do the science required to do that. So why are you so lazy? Why are all the intelligent design folks so lazy and not putting in their own research for their own model, but instead are trying to poke holes in another model that they don't even believe in?
Just like flat earthers.
Yes.
Okay, the same question you need to make in regards of abiogenesis research. Has ever a scientific experiment demonstrated how life can come from non-life?
Have you noticed that since we were talking on this stream, you haven't answered one of my questions, but always answered with another question or deflecting from my question?
That's a false accusation, Peter.
No,
that's
it
why
isn't.
I don't
You can
like
go.
it.
No,
that's a
no,
lie.
you can. No, you
that's
can
a
go
lie.
back.
Yes,
I asked you. I asked you a
I
specific.
answered your question, and you're lying about what I said.
Okay, well,
because
whoa. I haven't said anything for several minutes. Let me jump in here just real quick. Okay, all right. First of all, Tangelo, perhaps Peter was mistaken. Okay, but if somebody says something that isn't necessarily true, that does not necessarily entail lying. Okay, so to jump right to he's a liar, that's bullshit right there. But I can back Peter up. You did not directly answer one question that was put to you today.
So you are saying a lie as well.
Doug wanted to say something, right?
No, Otangelo. The difference is, if I were lying, I would have malicious intent, and I do not. I really am interested. I'm really.
Seems you have.
Okay, but then you're misunderstanding me. I really want you to answer those questions because
I did answer
you
them.
would be. Would you
like
the
that
first,
I answer them again?
Why do you keep interrupting me, and why are you mad if people interrupt you?
I can give you the same answer which I gave to you before. Would you like?
I just asked you a direct question. Why are you interrupting me, but are getting mad when people interrupt you?
Okay, I'll try to not interrupt you. Okay.
I want to have a friendly conversation with you, and you still think that I'm the enemy. You still think that I'm lying about you, as if that would get me anywhere. It wouldn't get me anywhere, because all it would get me is that you don't want to talk to me anymore, and that's the opposite of what I want to achieve. I want to hear your answers. I don't want to hear. If I ask a question, I don't want an answer that is a question in itself. I want an answer that addresses my question. And I'm sorry that I'm that much of a dick, and that I'm so petulant that I will hold your feet to the fire if I think that you didn't address my question. That's not because I dislike you. That's not because I want to make you look stupid. That's not because I want to make you look silly. Not any of those things. I just want to have an answer to my question. And I don't think that's too much to ask when everyone in this panel is answering your questions without putting up a counter question.
Okay, I will answer your question. I did that before, and I will do it again. So you will see that actually what you claimed that I didn't answer your question, I actually did. And I said that we do not know how God can create from a non-physical realm the physical realm, the physical world. We don't know how God can instantiate the physical from the non-physical. We don't know.
Now you're being honest. And this is an answer that I like.
That's the same answer which I gave to you previously. You can restream and see what I said, actually. It's the same thing.
Okay, but regarding this answer,
I would
if
like
you don't know...
I would like to finish. I did let you speak about 3-4 minutes.
Hold on real quick. Hold on. Point of order. While you were gone, when you quit the first time, we were talking about it. I don't know if you were listening, but in these type of discussions, you have to give your interlocutor a chance to go point by point, okay? Because like if you go on and on for like 10 minutes and you bring up 12, 13 points, you know, and your interlocutor finds a problem with the first point you make, you have to give them in real time. You have to give them a chance to counter that point or to correct.
Okay. I understood that.
And that it's also.
Can I have the same time which I granted to you?
No, he just took exception to that first point. He wants to comment on it, and I'm sure he won't take very much time at all.
Otangelo, and that again is not to aggravate you. That is to make the conversation better. Because if you list 10 points and I forget the first point you make. No, but I'm trying to tell you that this is not people being disrespectful. This is actually the opposite. This is people
I would like to make my point.
If
I'm not able to make my point, then I will leave the stream again, because I am simply being not granted time to even make one sentence, and then I am being interrupted. You speak about 3-4 minutes and nobody interrupts you. I don't either, and I make merely 1 or 2 sentences and then I am being interrupted. So can I make a point?
Let me respond to that.
No, I want to make a point now. No, I want to make a point.
I want to respond to that real quick. I do acknowledge that you're alone here in a panel with people who disagree with you. So you're going to be battered by several people, and I just want to commend you for at least coming in here, willing to confront everyone, and being on your own while we are. There's now 5 of us in this stream, so let me at least commend you on coming in and trying to answer. One thing I would give you as advice. Don't run away when things get heated, because you would get more respect if you stick around and just wait until the other one's finished and then make your point.
Just saying. Make 1 point. Don't make more than 1 point. And go ahead and make a point, Otangelo.
We know that intelligence can make blueprints which direct the making of machines, production lines, computers, transistors, energy factories, turbines, and factories and interlinked factories. That's what we see in biology, in biochemistry, in life. We have no example whatsoever how unguided random events can instantiate the same things. That makes it sound logical and rational to infer that intelligence, whatever intelligence you want to put in, is a better explanation for the origin of life and biodiversity rather than unguided natural events.
Can I address that real quick? Because what you're constantly doing is equating material things with biological things, and that is a false equation. We do not see cars copulate and produce another car. That doesn't happen. So what we
Can
also
I answer to
see,
that? I want to answer to that.
No. I want to get to. I want to get to my point. I want to get to my point. I want to make my point first. I wasn't finished.
He was almost done. He's got a few more sentences.
Otangelo, I wasn't finished. I want to make my point first. What we do see, and what you left out, is that we do see that with every time an organism reproduces, that things change in DNA, that we have mutations. You left that out, and that by definition, and that is by definition.
You're changing the subject.
Can I please finish? Otangelo, can I please finish my point?
That is 2-3 points.
That is by definition the mechanism for the diversity of life. It is the mutations. And you left that out, and I'm curious as to why you left that out.
We are talking about the origin of life. And secondly, DNA reproduction requires, in the simplest form, in prokaryotes, 14 proteins which work in an interlocked, interdependent, and irreducible complex fashion, where if you just leave one protein out, like helicase, you have no DNA reproduction. And the making of the first replication machinery doesn't depend on evolution or on another system of replication. You need to make first these systems from scratch. You need to make the blueprint from scratch.
So
and the
why,
first proteome
if that is
also
the
from
case,
scratch.
if that is the case, then why did you mention, because I didn't mention it, you did, you mentioned the diversity of life, which is what I responded to. Now you're moving the goalpost by going from diversity of life back to origins.
I mentioned
You
both.
need to stick to the topic.
I mentioned both.
It
I
is
mentioned
dishonest.
both.
It is dishonest
No,
if I'm
no.
responding to the diversity of life to come up, well, but you can't explain how life got here. That's irrelevant to the question.
Yep. Yeah, I'm ready to call this, guys.
Did you ever feel like
if he's going back to the helicase and the irreducible complexity, and that's how he's going to respond, I think we pretty much exhausted that line of questioning with Otan.
All right, and I was going to say, did you ever hear two people having a discourse and feel like you were listening and two people have two different conversations?
It is what is happening here.
Yeah.
So why does Otangelo?
So
and-
another.
Well, hey, hold on one second.
dishonest
Top Dog has
criticism.
been silent for a long time, and he's trying to get in here. Let Top Dog speak.
Yes.
Why does Otangelo think that something has to start from scratch? Doesn't it always come from something else? Energy moving from one place to another?
Well, if I am saying from scratch, you need to start from the basic atoms, from nitrogen, from hydrogen, from carbon. You need these basic building blocks, and they have to complexify in some form to make all the molecules which are required in life. That's where you have to start from. And the origin of the DNA replication machinery has to be explained starting from these basic parts. That's what I was referring to.
Okay.
So they came from somewhere else then?
Responding to that, Otangelo, you use a computer to come on this stream. In order to come on this stream, did you have to research where the computer came from, where the source material came from, how we refine certain source materials, where that is going, how the processes work, or did you just get a computer, learned how to work with the computer, and got on here?
Well, I didn't, but those which invented the computer, they had to start from scratch as well.
I asked you.
No, I didn't.
Okay, do you think that any computer manufacturer in the world needs to do all the research on how the source materials got here in order to make a computer?
No, because that has already been done.
Okay, and this is why when we're talking about evolution and the diversity of life, you do not need to know what the origin of life is. And this is why people get upset with creationists when they throw that in while we're talking about evolution and the diversity of life, because it's
I
has
didn't.
nothing to do.
I didn't.
You did just now, because I told you we were talking about diversity, and you said, but that's no explanation for the origin. I'm not saying that you're dishonest because you want. Because you want to be. I'm not saying that you do this on purpose. I'm just saying that this is a mistake you shouldn't make. And
real quick, I got to get out of here, guys. Thank you so much, Speed, for letting me be here. Peter, it was very nice to see you, and I will be reaching out to you very soon about our new channel, which we put on hold. And I just want to say, too, in response to Jay Pasek, yep, Peter's been swinging that club for over an hour now, and we still don't have any candy, man. I was waiting.
I can't help myself. But John, if regarding the channel, if you talk to Rage, tell him I said hi, and let him get back to me on how he is at the moment. We had a long talk.
Yeah. He, as a matter of fact, shared with me that you were one of the kind people that got a hold of him and told him not to kill the raging atheist. So
Exactly.
I thank you for that. So, all right, guys, have a good night. We'll see you next time.
Good night, John.
Catch you later.
Bye bye.
Yeah, I kind of want to wrap by 5, guys. So if you want to close it out, we've been
Why is
3
that
hours. We're almost at 3 hours, so.
Is that your evening nap time?
Well, I'm working 1 hour overtime, and
I've got two comments that I need to make. The first one to you, Speed. Thanks for having me and taking up a ton of time. And the second one, thanks to you, Otangelo, for talking to me, because I really like our interactions. I know that you might have a different opinion. I like to talk to you. So if at some point you could be like the God you advocate, and maybe just unblock me, because
I don't know where I blocked you. I don't know where I blocked you.
You blocked me.
Okay.
You blocked me on YouTube. I can't read your comments, so you need to go to my channel and unblock me, because that's what you did.
I would have to check how I can unblock. I have no idea how to do that. I tried it once and I didn't be able to do it. So
if you go to my channel, you go to the About section, there's a flag, and that's where you can block and unblock people. But whether or not you do this, I still want to thank you for at least addressing me in this conversation. And I hope at least that when you walk away, you don't get the idea that I'm out to get you in some way, shape, or form. I want to hear your answers, because I'm interested in your answers. I want to know what makes you tick. That's probably my biggest mistake. That's where I see the fun. I want to know how other people think, and that's why I'm on here.
Well, I'd say that this interaction was better as the first one, Peter, and I thank you for that. And I am open for any respectful conversation with anyone. And I mean, that's why I'm constantly looking at ET's channels, because it is my aim to have these conversations as well. What I require, however, is a mutual respect, that I'm not constantly interrupted, and in special that some people do not attack me as a person, but if they want to attack, then they should attack my views in regards of science and philosophy.
Angelo, I have a quick...
I think that we agree. I think we're in full agreement on that.
Yes, I have a quick question for Otangelo.
Yes, you may be, but other people at Speed of Sound knows who I'm addressing to that. Doesn't agree in regards of so in regards of the biomolecule speed, which you brought up, the science paper, here in the link in the private chat are the open questions, which I put the link previously to Peter. Hey, look it up, so you will understand how I think.
Okay,
can you guys hear me?
Midnight has a question for you, Otangelo. Midnight.
Okay, that I left, so I lost the quote, but that quote you posted from Max, what the fuck is his name? Top Mac or whatever, was that from the book Life 3.0?
Tegmark.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh yes, from Tegmark, yes, in regards of the cosmological constant, but I can give you a link.
I know, but was that from the book Life 3.0? I
think so. It is from Tegmark. But the cosmological constant, that was not Tegmark which calculated that. I can give you.
No, I know he didn't calculate it. He talked about it. I really got to read that book again. Life 3.0. It actually talks about how it talks about the brain from an artificial intelligence standpoint.
Okay, here is the link. Fine tuning of the cosmological constant. You can look it up.
Fine-tuning of the cosmological argument, Max.
So, Otangelo, they did find complex organic molecules in interstellar clouds.
Do you know what the problem is with that, Speed?
What is the problem with finding complex molecules in interstellar clouds?
Well, when it comes to attempt to mention this as a possible explanation of the origin of the basic building blocks for life, then what the thing is that these molecules, they are all sorts of molecules. They are not exclusively just the biomolecules used in life. So you have hundreds and hundreds of different amino acids. You have different kinds of molecules which are not used, that they are not homochiral, they are impure, they are not in the right quantities. There is so many problems. I have a long list, and I can give it to you, and you can
Yeah,
look it
no, I don't need your long list. Do you know anything about organic chemistry at all?
Well, what I studied, I think so, yes.
Okay, so you know that organic molecules, when you have when you have a 3-carbon chain, that you can end up with a 6-carbon chain, or something else can happen. That one molecule comes from another. So I mean, they're finding these in space, basically, complex organic molecules, and they bombarded the Earth at a rate of billions of tons per year or more in basically in prebiotic Earth. I mean, there were plenty of organic molecules, and if they can form in space, there's a really good chance they can form in the geology of the early Earth. So that's all we're saying, is that these are detected. I thought you said something like they couldn't be formed. Anyway, somebody put it in chat, and somebody else asked him to back it up, and I went out and found some information on it. So that's why I did it. But anyway, go ahead. Did you have anything else, Midnight? Because it's 9 minutes too.
Nah, that's Speed. I'm actually surprised you went this long.
Yeah, me too. Anyway,
Brainbug is back.
Peter, thank you.
Thanks for having me. It's always fun. I listen a lot, and I'm usually not in the side chat, but I try to catch a lot of your shows because I think they're worth watching.
So they're interesting. Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Keep doing these streams, Speed.
Yeah. And I do think that having people like Otangelo on adds to the value. So
how about Danny?
No. Danny, no.
Peter?
I'd rather have Otangelo here than Danny.
Danny needs a little coaching, and I think maybe the best thing to do that is to do that off air, because and Otangelo doesn't know this yet, but when he had his run in with Leo, I talked to Leo, and I talked to Leo off air, because I think that's how you need to do that. Back then we stood up for Otangelo because that was the right thing to do.
So Lena's voting for Danny. And so much, like, actually, I do admit that there was some humor in throwing Danny in the back room every time he opened his mouth. It was funny. Don't touch Danny. Hashtag don't touch Danny.
I'm sorry, but I don't know.
Peter, I bet if I had a conversation about this with Danny off stream, it would be exactly the same conversation that I would have on stream. It would turn into a shit show. So I don't know. But we're going to keep having him back because he does bring a philosophical perspective. The only problem I guess I have is that once you bring him in, he takes over the show until you put some science on the screen, and then he disappears like magic. So we found this potent Danny poison. All we have to do is start talking about science, and Danny will disappear within 30 seconds.
Well, so I've been accused of taking over a stream, and I'm trying not to. But if something interesting comes up, I really want to talk about that. So if I take over the stream, all you need to do is just say, "Shut the fuck up, Peter," and I'll shut up.
Okay.
Because
I can never get a word in edgewise when I'm in here. I just usually shut the fuck up and let everyone talk.
Okay, guys, let's wrap this today. So, anyone have anything else? Okay, Arn Ra. Wait a minute, that's in 5 minutes, right? Arn Ra.
No, it's in 2 hours from now.
Oh, 2 hours from now. Okay. Okay.
By
Let
the
me
way,
check
here
real
in the
quick. Yeah.
private chat, you see the interaction which I had with Darren Ra at the League of Reason. So you can look it up if you want.
That ought to be a hoot. Okay, guys.
I'll put in the link for people who want to come check that out. Onra and Professor Dave.
Please do that.
There's already a super chat in there.
Yeah.
So that's funny.
Yeah, Peter, if you want to have a not one-sided conversation there, you can invite me and I'll be more than happy to have a conversation with both of them.
So I don't get to decide who Arn is talking to, so I can suggest people.
Aren't you his manager?
No, I just run the show. I'm in the back room. And,
Yeah, no, I'm just messing with you. Yeah,
I don't participate other than I pull up comments every once in a while and I get to moderate the chat. So if people really get out of line, which I have to say doesn't happen.
So Peter, let me say you this. I have the feeling that Aaron Ra and also Professor Dave, they are shy to have a direct conversation with Dr. Tour, with a few.
No, I don't think that's
okay.
it.
Here's the thing. If you can get in touch with Dr. Tour, and you can get back to me, my email address is on my channel. info@gonnagoforit.com.
Well, Dr. Tour has invited Dr. Dave in one of his streams at this abiogenesis series to have a direct conversation with him. Okay, and I have invited Aaron Ra and also Professor Dave to have a conversation with me, and both have always said no.
Dr. Tour is a galloping joke.
Keep in mind, I can't speak for Professor Dave. I can speak a little for Arn. Arn is extremely busy. What he does is his way to get his income. So he needs to be selective on where he spends his time. He needs to make money. He needs to have his house and pay for that, pay for the car, pay for his food. It's literally the only job he has. So if he's not able to come on everyone else's stream, it's probably not because he's too scared to talk to people or he doesn't find people interesting enough. Most of the time, it is just a time problem, because I'll give you an insight. I hosted his show earlier. Usually, when we do the Quran stream, people stick around for 2-3 hours to talk. Aaron is usually the first one to drop off, and 9 out of 10 times that is immediately after the show ended. So that's how much time he has, and those are people who actually are his friends, and he doesn't have the time always to talk to them. So if you keep that in mind, if Arn says I can't come on or refuses to come on, it's not always that reason that you think of. It might just be a time issue.
Well, it seems that he has more preference to have a flat Earth debate on MDD rather to talk to someone.
I can tell you that for a fact he's not going to have a flat Earth debate on MDD ever again.
He already had.
Yes,
he already had.
Yes,
and I mean, I don't know how this is a relevant topic at all.
What, flat Earth?
Yeah.
It's in the Bible, so why wouldn't it be relevant?
Okay, whatever.
Okay, guys, let's wrap. Okay, we could go on for another hour, Peter.
Yeah, if you let them speed, they will be going on.
Okay, guys, we are going to go, and we're going to go undead now. Goodbye, cruel world. Thanks, everyone, for showing up. We got quite a few views. So, Peter, you did good. And Otangelo, you too.
Perfect. Yeah.
So, ending broadcast.
Stay curious.